Chapter 141. The soldiers on the training ground whispered to each other. All the soldiers stared longingly at the sword in the hands of Commander Terry. Everyone wanted to win the competition, get the roar of the lion's heart, and get the approval of Commander Terry. And Coach Terry also said just now that anyone can play. In theory, even if you are a quasi-knight, a reserve knight, or an ordinary soldier, you can go up and compete. Having said that, people's footsteps still stand still. There are 30,000 troops in Kawa City, and there are dozens of knights if not 100. Although there are few great knights, there are still a few. You don't even have the strength to be a knight, why go up and join in the fun? Want to be laughed at? It has been 10 minutes since Commander Tai Li sat down, and still no one stepped onto the stage. Commander Tai Li was not in a hurry, he just looked at the soldiers in the training ground with a smile. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the crowd. A noble boy with a high ponytail came out of the recruit company holding a spear. Who is that guy? A recruit, so arrogant? SHH, keep your voice down, that's Becky, a man from the Earl's family of the kingdom. I heard that he is only 25 years old, and he is already the best among knights. So powerful? For us, becoming a knight at the age of 25 is a genius among geniuses. Becky walked up to the stage and saluted the people sitting on the main stage, Commander Taylor, Commander Lyde, Commander Kylan. You already have this level of strength and courage at such a young age, and your future is limitless. Maybe you can sit in my position as Commander-in-Chief in the future. Commander-in-Chief Terry praised. At this moment, those who hesitated in the training ground regretted it. The first one to go up is just a lottery, and it doesn't matter much if you are strong or weak. You can still get acquainted in front of the Commander-in-Chief and the others. Ah, if only I went up just now. Will also looked at Becky curiously. Becky is a man who is proud and stable, and never does things that he is not sure about. I wonder how strong he is? Although I don't think Becky can win, it should be a very exciting battle. The strength of the upper reaches of the knights can be regarded as the best in the army. Before Will had to wait long, a tall and strong man roared and jumped onto the ring. The challenger is 2.2 meters tall, with muscles all over his body, like a giant bear, giving people a strong sense of oppression. It's quite, he really couldn't help but play. Terry laughed. Although quite is only at the quasi-knight level, he is born with supernatural power. In terms of attack power, ordinary great knights are not as good as him. Lyde said. I hope that recruit named Becky can last a little longer, Kylan said. Claire was wearing heavy armor, dragging a watermelon-sized hammer, and walked towards Becky step by step. Hey, boy, if you don't want to get hurt, back down obediently. If you accidentally smashed you to death, don't blame me. Claire's voice seemed to be amplified by a speaker, and even Will, who was far away, was shocked. Arrive. Gazing at the huge figure that enveloped him like a mountain, Becky's face was more solemn than ever. Stop talking nonsense. Becky held the spear, and his feet jumped quickly. From the first time he met Quite, Becky knew that this person was invincible. With such a huge body, wearing such heavy armor, and the weapon is still a sledgehammer, the speed will definitely be affected. If you want to win, it is best to use the advantage of speed to fight. How long do you think that kid can last? Captain Quite is a terrifying existence known as a giant war beast. Looking at the entire Kawa City, his strength can also be ranked among the top 15. The first one met Captain Quite, that kid is really unlucky. Yet, even if you meet someone with stronger strength, it will be much better. Captain Quite's attack is not serious, don't smash people to death all at once. Boom! Quite accelerated instantly, gripped the handle of the hammer tightly with both hands, and aimed at the place where Becky was standing and smashed it hard. The ground cracked, gravel splashed, and the entire competition platform shook slightly like an earthquake. Becky paled. If that hammer was hit, he would be seriously injured if he didn't die. Chance. Generally, after making such a big movement, the body will definitely be stiff. Now is the best time to attack. The spear in Becky's hand was like a poisonous snake, buzzing and piercing towards the crack in Quite's armor. Clang! The spear was held back by Quite's armor-covered arm. Cutter held Becky's spear in his left hand. How dare you hold my gun head? Becky sneered in his heart. Even if the opponent is a great knight, he dare not make such a big deal. Die! The life force on his body erupted, he twisted his hands forcefully, and the gun head spun quickly. There were dazzling sparks between the spearhead and the gauntlet. Stand up! With a low growl, Becky was lifted up. What? Becky exclaimed. Quite took Becky and smashed it down hard. As a last resort, Becky could only let go of the spear and backed away. With a click, the wooden handle of the spear broke. Seeing that Quite was about to rush towards him, Becky quickly surrendered. I admit defeat. Becky smiled wryly. Originally, he thought he could defeat 2 or 3 people, and then exited exhausted, but he didn't expect that the first enemy would encounter a monster like Quite. Quite's body was so tall, he was still wearing heavy armor, and he was holding a heavy hammer, but his speed didn't seem to affect him at all. The straight-line explosive speed is even higher than him. If it is in a complex forest, Becky can still use his physical dexterity to fight. It's a pity that in the competition stage, if you don't have the determination to die, it is impossible to win. Even if he wins by luck, I am afraid that he will be seriously injured, and there is a high probability that he will be permanently disabled. It's just a competition, and you can't win the championship. It's not time to desperately. Hey, wouldn't it be better to admit defeat earlier? Quite said with a hammer in his hand. Becky stepped off the competition platform depressed. He and Moran have been rivals since they were young, and they both call themselves geniuses. They have competed countless times since they were young, winning and losing. The two came to join the army together, and before they came, they made a bet on who could be the commander-in-chief first. At that time, how high-spirited were the two of them? Unexpectedly, Morang was inexplicably defeated by a younger man than them, not even a fight. And he was defeated by a stupid big man in 2s and 3s, and he didn't even have a chance to fight back. Looking at Becky's decadent back, Terry sighed and said, I still need to practice. Recruits, especially those from such a big family, always think that they are very powerful, and they will not suffer any setbacks. If they wake up early, they will be the ones who will suffer in the future, Kylan said. Everyone needs to recognize their own strength. Lyde said in a deep voice. Not knowing if it was an illusion, Will felt Lyde's eyes fall on him and Tucci, as if the words were meant for them. Maybe it's an illusion. Will didn't think too much, and continued to focus on the competition. This is a good opportunity to learn about the strength of Kawa City's army. Chapter 142. A thin man stepped onto the stage. The man is actually not thin, but because he is too tall, close to 2 meters, and his muscles can't keep up, he feels thin. Pierre. As soon as the man named Beard entered the stage, before he had time to speak, Quite rushed forward with a heavy hammer. Beard seemed to have expected this to happen. Seeing Quite rushing towards him, Beard unhurriedly drew out his scimitar. While avoiding Quite's attack, swing the knife at the weak point of the armor. Quite is known as a giant war beast, a little giant. In a frontal melee, none of the 3 Beards can compare to Quite. The problem is that it's a one-on-one contest now. The reason why Quite was able to easily defeat Becky just now was because the strength gap between the two was too large. When he met Beard, who was similar in strength and nimble, Quite's disadvantages were immediately revealed. Quite's strength, speed, and defense are all impeccable, but his movements are too inflexible. On the battlefield where there are enemies all around, and with a light swing of the heavy hammer in his hand, several enemy troops can be knocked into the air. Quite is indeed very powerful. But only in melee, Quite itself is not suitable for one-on-one duels. After a while, Quite had been stabbed more than a dozen times. If Beard hadn't been merciful and deliberately avoided the vital points, Quite would have died long ago. On the arena, Quite kept roaring. The hammer in his hand was hammered eastward and westward, and each attack had a heavy sound of piercing through the air, causing the competition platform to shake slightly. With such a powerful attack, it would be difficult for Beard to even block it. But Quite's attacking action is too big, too easy to predict. As long as you have the strength of the Peak Knight and enough combat experience, it is not difficult to dodge. As expected of a little giant, a beast of war, if he can become a great knight, he has a place in the Commander-in-Chief. Commander-in-Chief Terry said. Born with supernatural power, the increase in combat power is no less than that of a bloodline. Lida also praised. This is not where he should come. The battlefield is his destination. Kylan said. Quater's immense strength is truly amazing. He only has the cultivation base of a quasi-knight, and his attack power is no less than that of a great knight, and he can compete with the peak knights. If one day, the cultivation base reaches the level of a great knight, how terrifying the combat power will be. Unfortunately, it is not so easy to become a knight. Quite seems to be almost 30, and he is only qualified as a knight. It is conceivable that his talent in breathing is extremely poor. Whether he can become a knight in this life is still a question mark. On the test stage, Beard's advantage is getting bigger and bigger. Quite was covered in blood, so he could only keep furious, wasting his energy in vain. However, sweat stains also appeared on Beard's cheeks, and his breathing began to become chaotic. Since he couldn't kill, and Quite's vitality was extremely tenacious, if he continued to consume it, it might be Beard who lost. If it is on the battlefield, it can be called a monster. Will also exclaimed. In the end, it was Terry who came forward and let Quite end, which ended the farce on the battlefield. With a resigned expression on his face, Quite shouted, "I didn't lose, I can still fight, that monkey is not my opponent at all," and was kicked out of the field. Next, a strong man takes turns to go into battle. Beard didn't last long before he was dismissed. After a fierce battle, the one who remained on the field was a man with a resolute expression and a serious expression. The head of the cavalry regiment Maka. The peak of the great knight, coupled with the weak bloodline ability, it is normal to have such strength. Will looked at Tookie. Tookie should be slightly better in strength, but Mika was beaten out of a sea of corpses. Yes, the combat experience is much richer, and Tucci may fall into a disadvantage in a real fight. "What are you looking at me for?" Tucci said with an unhappy face. Will turned his head away, pretending not to know anything. "Karin, why don't you go down and meet McCabe?" Terry asked sideways. "No, I'm still very clear about my own strength." Kylan said depressedly, "When I become a great knight someday, I might be able to fight Captain Mika a few times." Kylan herself is also a bloodline user, but she only has a knight cultivation base, and her overall combat power is only at the peak level of a great knight. Compared with Maka, there are still many gaps. Mika's strength is much stronger than it was a year ago, and I may not be an opponent now. Commander Terry shook his head and smiled, with relief in his eyes. "My lord, don't you mind if I go down to play?" Lyde stood up, his whole body bursting with momentum. "Go ahead and show off your #1 strength in the army." Tai Li nodded. Lid bent his knees slightly and bounced his body. Boom! Lid jumped in front of Mika all at once, sinking his feet into the ground. "It's Commander Lyde. Commander Lyde is the pride of our Kava city, the #1 in combat power. Is Captain McCabe your opponent?" "Idiot, although Commander Mika is very powerful, he is still far behind Commander Lyde. How could Commander Lyd make a move? He's on the stage, and the military exercise competition is still so competitive. The first place will be awarded directly to him." "Who made Commander Tai Li take out the sword of the Juggernaut this time?" Shocked, excited, everyone's eyes fell on Commander Lyde. Commander Lyde, the legend of Kava City. The appointed next head coach. Combat power first. To be offensive, even the Commander-in-Chief Terry in his youthful body, whether he can sustain 20 strokes under the full-strength Commander Lyde is still a question. Maka is really good. The peak of the Great Knight, coupled with the ability of the blood, is also the best among the second-class apprentices. It's a pity that the opponent is Lyde, who is also the peak knight and has a stronger bloodline ability. There are still many strong people in this world. Will sighed. Lyde's strength can be compared with the weaker third-class apprentices. It is similar in strength to Burns, the head of the Bloodstained Adventure Group in Yamak City. "Lyde, let me see how much the gap between us has been reduced." Mika's expression was unprecedentedly serious. There were also opponents of the Great Knight before, but they were all defeated by Mika lightly. But Lyde and those people are not at the same level at all. Mika thought he had become a lot stronger, but he still didn't think he could compare with Lyde. He just wanted to know whether the gap in strength between them had widened or narrowed. "Commander Taylor, what do you think of their strength?" Commander Kylan asked in a low voice. "Mika is very talented and works hard, but there are some things that no matter how hard you work, it's useless." Coach Terry sighed. Kylan's eyes fell on Will, across from Commander Terry. "Master Will, what do you think of Commander Lyde's strength?" Kylan asked with a smile. "Very strong, even stronger than me." Will replied. Cut. It was obvious to Kylan that Will was not telling the truth at all. But there's no time to worry, because Lyde and Mika are about to fight on stage. Kylan and I don't want to miss the battle between the strongest two in Kawa City's army. Chapter 143. A tense atmosphere permeated the crowd. Everyone held their breath and stared closely at the two people on the stage, unwilling to miss every moment. The head of the Mecha Cavalry Regiment, Commander Lied, and the two represented the highest combat power in Kawa City. Even if the head coach Terry left the field in person, his performance would not be better than that of Captain Mika. Captain Mecha held the two-handed sword tightly, and the white light of life condensed on the surface of his body, making a defensive posture. Commander Lied held a palm-width épée in one hand, pointing the tip obliquely at the ground, with a relaxed expression on his face. Mika, it's a pity that when you are getting stronger, I am also getting stronger, and the speed of becoming stronger is much faster than you. Commander Lied looked at Mika with a regretful expression. It's not certain. Mika's face was serious. Lied and Mika are about the same age and talent, and they even joined the army in the same batch. However, Lied's bloodline ability is stronger than that of Mika. The bloodline ability is so unreasonable. On Lied's body, the white power of life was burning, and his skin was flushed. Burning bloodlines can greatly enhance strength, speed, and defense. Tucci explained in a low voice, he is relatively low in bloodline concentration, and he is more powerful. He can burn bloody flames all over his body, which is harmful to the body. The strengthening ability of it is much more exaggerated than the demon seed of the ground bear. Lied raised his sword and slashed at the head. There are no fancy techniques, just relying on absolute strength and speed. The distance between the two was too close, and Makin didn't even have time to dodge. Clang! He abruptly blocked the attack. But what greeted him was a rain of swords like a storm. 1 sword, 2 swords, 3 swords. There is no reason at all. Relying on absolute strength, Lied easily defeated Mika's defense. Clang! The long sword was knocked away, and Lied's sword was placed on Mika's shoulder. Looking at the bleeding hands, Mika knelt down on one knee with a gloomy expression. Head down. I lost. The voice choked. There was silence in the training ground. Although everyone knew that Mika was bound to lose, they never thought that they would lose so thoroughly. A Peak Knight, a strong man with bloodline ability, didn't even have the strength to fight back. Everyone stared blankly at Lied. Even the expression on the face of Commander Terry, who was sitting on the main seat, froze for a moment. Tucci's hands trembled slightly, and he stared at Commander Lied in disbelief. Can this strength be compared to that of a third-class apprentice? Tucci really didn't think he was the opponent of Commander Lied. But for a long time, Tucci thought that Commander Lied was at most the pinnacle of a second-class apprentice. If the two match up, there is still a chance of winning. If you can't fight, at least you can escape. But now, Lied is just the tip of the iceberg showing his strength, which has already made Tucci feel chills all over. What he transplanted was the leopard's demon seed, but the speed he was proud of was like a joke in front of Lied. Will, are you his opponent? Tucci could only look at Will hopefully. Tucci is still very sure about Will's strength. After all, Will was running away from a king-level monster. In the past month, under the condition of serious injuries, he was a fierce man who escaped countless times from third-level monsters. He was the strongest among the freshmen of the Joluo Potion Academy that year. If it hadn't been for an accident, causing monsters to get on the blacklist of monsters, there would be more than 90% chance of becoming a third-class apprentice. It's hard to say. Will said modestly. But even so, Tucci still stared straight. Originally, it was just a casual question. After all, the strength of Commander Lied is equivalent to that of a third-class apprentice. Deep down in Tucci's heart, he didn't think that Will would have a chance of winning against Commander Lied. But Will actually said hard to say? Doesn't that mean that Will's strength is comparable to that of Commander Lied? Tucci looked at Will with monster-like eyes. At the same time, he became more and more curious about Will. What kind of unique skills and abilities do you need to have in order for a first-class apprentice to have the combat power of a third-class apprentice? On stage. With a lonely back, Mika left sadly. Walked out of the training ground. No one stopped, no one spoke, and they could all understand the feelings in Mika's heart. From now on, Mika's heart may never be able to raise the idea of competing with Lied. I hope Captain Mika can cheer up soon. Looking at Mika's back, Kylan thought silently. Commander Terry stood up and applauded first. Suddenly, there was deafening applause on the training ground, and the applause continued. Commander Tai Li held his sword in both hands, lead, as today's winner. Master Tai Li, please wait a moment. Lied suddenly interrupted the Commander-in-Chief Tai Li, I think I haven't won yet, and there are still people who will challenge me. After listening to Lide's words, a strange feeling rose in everyone's heart. Challenge? Even the second strongest mecha has been defeated by you with a few swords, who dares to challenge? Isn't that looking for abuse? Commander-in-Chief Terry also had a surprised expression on his face. Only after Kylan was surprised, she immediately looked at Will. Commander Lide's gaze also fell on Will. Master Will, the special envoy of the kingdom, would you mind coming down to give me some pointers? What? Will looked depressed. He has been sitting here obediently. After coming to Kawa City, you haven't caused any trouble, have you? Why did Commander Lide follow him? There was an uproar among the crowd. Master Lid challenged the kingdom envoy? Is the special envoy of the kingdom very strong? Mo Lang, I heard that you fought against the special envoy of the kingdom. Who do you think is stronger, Mr. Special Envoy or Mr. Lide? The special envoys of the kingdom and the soldiers of Kawa City don't like it very much. They are in high positions and enjoy privileges, but they have never seen them contribute to Kawa City. Just a bunch of moths. It is rumored that the special envoys of the kingdom are all sons and buddies of the kingdom's big family, and they come to make military achievements. Although the rumors say so. But deep down, no one dared to despise the kingdom envoy. I heard that the strength of each kingdom's special envoy is higher than that of ordinary great knights, and they also possess many strange abilities. There have been people who challenged the kingdom's envoys before, but they all lost without exception. That's just a rumor. Who knows if they are really strong? You look so young, you are only in your early 20s, no matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, the strength of a great knight is already the limit. How can it be possible to match Lord Lide? Master Lide is the strongest. A series of dazzling gazes fell on Will. When did Will encounter such a scene? Bearing tens of thousands of gazes, Will felt a little heavy in his body. Lead, what are you doing nonsense? Hurry up and apologize to the special envoy. Tai Li scolded. I just think that Master Will is also interested in the holy sword. I asked all of you. If Master Will doesn't want it, then I will take it. Lid stared directly at Will and said. Chapter 144. There was a long silence. Will said, I just need a sword in my hand. Ordinary swords can no longer withstand Will's strength. The sword that Rep left to Will back then was good, but unfortunately it was accidentally lost in the troll territory, and I don't know how it is now. In the academy, there are quite a few good swords for sale. The problem is Will is too poor to afford it. Is it the sword used by the Holy Rank Powerhouse? I saw it at the auction back then, and I wanted to use it for research, but I had no choice but to give it up. Will walked to the competition stage. Commander Lide, if I get away with winning a move or two. You won't win. Commander Lide silently raised his sword. Will frowned, then each depends on its ability. Will's strength naturally crushed Commander Lide. Even if he doesn't use the burst form, Commander Lide is far from Will's opponent. But Will didn't want to expose his strength too much. With the knight's peak cultivation, coupled with his strong physical fitness, and with the knight's martial skills, he should be able to win. Will calmly analyzed in his mind. I'm on. Commander Lide's skin was blood red, and his body was burning with the power of white life. Ha! With a loud shout, Commander Lid charged towards Will like a bull. Do you really look down on me? You actually want to crush me with strength? Will sneered in his heart. If you were an ordinary second-class apprentice, like Tu Chi, your performance would not be much better than that of mecha. Try the night martial arts I just learned. Fire cut. The light of the sword in his hand flashed, and it slashed at the weak spot in Commander Lide's sword. The perception technique was activated, and there was no secret in Will's eyes about Commander Lid's next actions. Will seems to have the ability to predict, before every attack by Commander Lide, he can avoid it in advance, and every time, he can hit the weak point of Commander Lide's defense. Will's comprehensive strength is only comparable to that of Micah. But relying on perception skills and night martial skills, Will actually kept fighting against Commander Lide. Perception and night martial skills are much stronger than I imagined. Will sighed in his heart. After learning perception and night martial arts, it was the first time Will used them in battle. Perception can easily predict the actions of Commander Rid. It feels similar to the legendary Sixth Sense. Pure strength and speed. Unless it is too fast for me to react, it will be difficult to crack. It is best to use powerful mental power to disrupt the opponent's perception. Even if it's just a burst of night martial arts at the peak level of knights, my attack power is comparable to that of Lyde. Will was in no rush to end the fight. Clang! Commander Lyde suddenly swung his épée forcefully, and distanced himself from Will. Panting heavily, Commander Leader stared at Will with red eyes. Commander Lyde, you lost. Will didn't even have a drop of sweat on his body. Night martial arts? Commander Lyde gritted his teeth. Before, everyone just watched the battle on the competition stage blankly. He couldn't figure out why Commander Lyde, who was at the peak of a great knight, would be beaten by Will, a peak knight. Until Commander Lead spoke. It turned out to be night martial arts. Except for a very few people such as Commander Taylor and Commander Kylan, many people showed expressions of sudden realization. The rest of them looked blank, and under the explanation of others, they knew what was going on. Night martial skills, while capable of bursting out powerful power, consume a lot of energy. Ordinary knights will die of exhaustion or become permanently disabled if they are not careful when practicing night martial arts. Even great knights rarely practice night martial arts. It's too risky to pour all your vitality into one blow. You are very talented, it's a pity. Will looked at Commander Lyd regretfully, the same eyes that Commander Lyd looked at Captain Mika not long ago. Lyde is very talented and has the ability of blood. However, Lyde did not practice meditation, his mental power was not strong enough, and his use of bloodline abilities was extremely superficial. Because he didn't practice physical exercise, he didn't dig enough blood, and his body wasn't strong enough. Originally, Will had some expectations for Lyde, but after the actual battle, he realized that it was so disappointing. Do you still want to fight? Will just showed his strength as a second-class apprentice, relying on his night martial skills and spiritual skills, he easily crushed Commander Lyde. That's a night martial skill? It's only been 3 months, and you've actually practiced it to this level? Tucci looked at Will in surprise. The mental power wrapped around his waist can perform such subtle operations on mental power. Is it a mental skill? Looking at the way he seemed to see through all the opponent's attacks when he faced Commander Jean Lyde, it should be a perception technique. Tucci no longer knew what to say. Commander Lyde kept panting, staring at Will like a mad bull. I didn't lose. Commander Lyde raised his sword high. Knight skills, I can do it too. Commander Leader is absolutely unwilling to admit that he will lose to a 20-year-old boy. He is extremely talented, he has the ability of blood, and he has the guidance of a famous teacher. Talent, blood, hard work, Lyde thinks that he is already the most talented group of people, and no one can surpass him in the speed of becoming stronger. Even the legendary paladin, he dared to fight. But now, Will ruthlessly shattered his fantasy. A guy in his early 20s, as the special envoy of the kingdom he had always looked down upon, he actually lost. Impossible. Thick drops of blood ooze from the skin, and Commander Lyde's height has been raised out of thin air. Using night martial arts while using burning blood, it's too reluctant. Kylan stood up all of a sudden, trying to stop Lyde. This is a battle between men. Terry held Kylan and shook her head. But don't interfere with their fight. Terry pushed Kylan back into her seat. The white flames burning all over Lyd's body gradually turned red. Burning blood? Night martial arts? If you have practiced the intermediate body training method, it won't be so painful. Will sighed inwardly. Lyde's physical strength is only comparable to Tucci's. As for Tucci, who just joined the Knights and was at the peak of the great Knights of Lyde, the gap brought about by body training is just so big. Maybe, you can try the skills you thought about before? Will thought to himself. Commander Lyd pointed the tip of his sword straight at the sky, and then swung it down heavily. At the same time, the body moved towards Will. A wave of white air rushed towards Will, the strong wind hit Will's face, and the robes of the wizard's apprentice fluttered. 3 lightning strikes. The 3 night martial skills are superimposed. Although it failed to reach the terrifying power of 10x10x10, the amplitude of the power also reached 40 times that of terror. 2 swords intersect. There was silence. An invisible shock wave spread out centered on Will and Lyd. The audience who were close to the audience were suddenly knocked down by the shock wave. On the ground, where Will and Lyd were fighting, a circular depression appeared in the center of them. Ka. With the shard of the long sword in hand, Will flew backwards, gliding on the ground to the edge of the arena. Commander Lyd maintained his slashing posture, motionless. Silence. After a long silence, people's depressed mood broke out. Long life Commander Lead. Commander Light is number 1. Master Commander. The soldiers shouted frantically, all the words of praise, without hesitation. Contrary to the reveling soldiers. Commander Tailey on the stage, looking at Commander Lid who stood stiffly on the stage, sighed secretly. Winner, Will. Chapter 145. Commander Light passed out standing up. Will got up, threw away the dagger in his hand, and looked at Commander Lid who was being carried down with complicated eyes. Some people's talent and hard work are far beyond ordinary people, but their achievements are far below others. Everything is just because of a lack of luck. Will felt sorry for Light in his heart. Master Will, this sword belongs to you. Commander Tai Li handed the holy sword Lionheart Roar to Will. He took the sword and pulled it out. Taking a closer look at the legendary holy sword, it's not as magical as imagined. All the rumors about the holy sword are just rumors. I'm afraid we will disappoint Lord Will. Commander-in-Chief Tai Li laughed. Then, Commander-in-Chief Terry started the closing speech of the military exercise competition. Will could clearly feel that the soldiers present were downcast. No wonder. Commander Light is a myth in their hearts. It is the god of war. Is an undefeated legend. But they were easily defeated by a special envoy of the kingdom they hated, a young man in his early 20s. Look at that cheek without a drop of sweat. Not a single tattered robe. From the beginning to the end, there was no disordered breathing. All of them told them the huge gap in strength between Will and Light. They actually have such a powerful strength. Obviously so powerful, why don't you want to contribute to the kingdom? If they went to war, those who died. Special envoy of the kingdom, what are the origins of these people who change batches every few years? Eyes of suspicion, scrutiny and distrust hovered over Will and Tucci. Will defeated Commander Light and showed his strength, but what he got was not respect, but suspicion. These guys are really ugly. Tucci whispered standing beside Will. It's just human nature, don't worry about it. Will said with a smile. There will be such an ending, Will has long expected it in his heart. Master Will, Lord Tucci, Commander Terry invites you. Kylan walked over and said. Let's go. Kylan led the way and brought Will and Tucci to a conference hall. The round tables in the hall are filled with food and wine. Will and his party sat down and waited for a long time, and the Commander-in-Chief Terry arrived late. I have a lot of business. If I am late, I will be fined a glass first. Commander Tai Li picked up a bowl of wine and sipped it. You two ambassadors, you have been here in Kava City for more than half a month, and you are still getting used to it. In the hall, there were only a few people. A group of people said something east and west, chatting. No one mentioned the military exercise just now. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the hall. A messenger broke into the hall, knelt down and said, Commander Tailey, it's an emergency, and the messenger from the kingdom is here to see you. Commander Terry's expression changed suddenly. What happened? Before the messenger finished speaking. Don't stop me, I want to see the Commander-in-Chief. A dirty man broke into the hall. The moment he saw Commander Tai Li, his eyes lit up, and he rushed towards Commander Tai Li shouting loudly. Stop! Several soldiers supported the dirty man. The man struggled. Who are you? What can I do with this old man? Commander Tai Li came to the man. Master Commander, you must save the princess. The princess's boat was besieged by green spirits. The man took out the token, of our 10 guards, only I survived the siege. The man shouted anxiously. Commander Tai Li took the token is fine, but I haven't received any news that the princess is coming. The princess came here secretly without telling His Majesty the King. I didn't expect that when she was about to arrive, she was found and besieged by the green elves. Fortunately, the green elves haven't found out who is on board, otherwise the princess. The man was exhausted to the extreme, be sure to support quickly. After asking the man where the princess was attacked, Commander-in-Chief Terry ordered the man who fainted to be taken down to recuperate. Commander, what should we do? Commander Kylan asked. Commander Tai Li pondered for a while, this matter cannot be delayed. You and Meika will bring 300 cavalry to support. We must save the princess. I'm worried there will be an ambush. Commander Kylan frowned and said, did the green spirit really not discover the identity of the princess? Maybe it's a trap to lure us? Whether it's a trap or not, the safety of the princess comes first. Commander Terry looked at Will and the two, Master Will, Lord Tucci, can I trouble you too? Very happy, Will said. I've never fought a green elf before, so I don't know what a green elf looks like. Tucci licked his lips excitedly. Today Will was in the limelight, he was like a foil, not to mention how depressed he was. Okay, let's go immediately. Commander Terry waved. Commander Kylan immediately found Captain McCA. Summoning the elite of the 300 cavalry, they rushed out of the city gate and rushed towards the direction where the princess was attacked. On the way, Commander Catherine approached Will on horseback. Master Will, he didn't mean to target you, I hope you don't blame him. Kylan's voice was drowned in the sound of horseshoes and wind, but Will could still hear it clearly. I'm sorry, I still need myself. Will replied. Will can still understand Lyde's inexplicable malice. Just think a little bit about what those kingdom envoys did before. However, understanding is one thing, and forgiveness is another. Commander Lyde's actions against him will not change. Will never blamed Commander Lyde, nor did he want to have anything to do with Commander Lyde, he just hoped that something like today would never happen next time. Karen sighed. She knew that according to Lyde's temper, it was impossible for him to apologize to Will. Cavalry is the most elite cavalry. Horses, the best horses. In less than half an hour, it was already close to the place where the princess was attacked. Will could already see the ship in the distance, glowing with fire. Will, check it out. Tucci shouted, he knew the ability of Will's demon seed. Under Kylan's surprised gaze, Will pulled off the blindfold on his left eye. Under the gaze of the golden pupils, the shady scene no longer exists. The vision in the eyes is as clear as day. In the eyes of Will, the flaming ship in the distance seems to be getting closer all of a sudden. Bright yellow flames, anxious crowd, a rain of arrows, and a gorgeous blonde woman standing on the deck commanding. That should be the princess. It seems that I can hold on for a while. Will looked at the sky and found a golden eagle soaring thousands of meters above the sky. The eagle's gaze collided with Will again, and both spotted each other. It's a giant golden-winged eagle. Will cursed secretly. Golden-winged giant eagle? Sure enough, there is an ambush. Kylan was startled. According to the information we got, there are only 3 green spirits who can control the golden-winged giant eagle. Chapter 146. Golden-winged giant eagle, a very powerful monster. She has a strong temperament and is extremely difficult to tame. In the Green Essence Kingdom, there are only 3 beast masters who have tamed the giant golden-winged eagle. Flying is just one of the advantages of the golden-winged giant eagle over other summoned beasts. The golden-winged giant eagle is not strong in combat power and is difficult to tame, but it still attracts countless green spirits, and what makes many soldiers in Kawa City hate it is a special ability of the golden-winged giant eagle. Can share vision with Beastmaster. Fly high, have good eyesight, and share vision, perfect scout. The army on the human side has suffered countless times from the golden-winged giant eagle. Even sent the golden-winged giant eagle? The green spirit must know the identity of the princess, and let people stand out and report the news, just to lure us. Kylan's face was extremely ugly, and she couldn't move forward or back for a while. The besieged person is the princess, and if something goes wrong, no one can afford it if the king is held accountable. To save? The green elves are the best at concealing an ambush, knowing that there is a trap and rushing in, isn't it courting death? Kylan is the commander-in-chief of Kawa City's 3rd Army. Meika, the head of the most powerful cavalry regiment in Kawa City, is also one of the 3 strongest men in Kawa City. The 300 cavalry led by him are the elite cavalry of Kawa City. If they all died here, Kawa City's combat strength would lose more than 1/3 in a short period of time. You can't put Kawa City in danger just to save an arrogant princess. Kylan gritted her teeth and made a decision. Kawa City is one of the frontier fortresses where humans go deep into the jungle and fight against the green elves. After Kawa City, there is a jungle stretching for hundreds of kilometers. There is no geographical advantage, no city walls, and in the jungle, human beings are no match for the green spirits. Once Kawa City fell, the hundreds of kilometers of jungle between Isai City and Kawa City would be handed over to the green spirit. Kylan raised her hand. Even if the king asks him to punish him, he can't let the soldiers die in vain. When Kylan was about to order the cavalry to stop, Will suddenly grabbed Kylan's hand and pressed it down. Will, what are you doing? Kylan looked at Will in surprise. Go ahead and rescue the princess, and I'll disrupt the green spirit's ambush. Will whispered. It's too messy, even if it's better than you. Trust me. Will pulled the rein, rode away from the team, and ran in another direction. Kylan gritted her teeth, clamped her legs, and was about to follow behind Will. Commander Kylan, please trust Will, he will be fine. Tucci stopped Kylan. Here, we need you more. Tucci pointed to the cavalry behind them. Looking at the restless eyes of the cavalry, Kylan sighed, Will, can I trust you? In the field of vision of the true eye, the night no longer exists, and the figures hidden in the darkness have nowhere to hide. Will saw clearly the ambush of the green elves. The green spirit's concealment skills are so amazing that even Will, who has the eye of truth, can hide it. But I don't want to think about those 3 green spirits who have kept Will from hiding. What are they? Not every green spirit is a beast master. Just as the human race is good at farming, but not everyone knows how to farm. There are too many people in ambush by the green essence this time, and their strength varies. It's okay to deceive ordinary people, but Will can't be fooled at all. Will galloped towards where the green goblins were lying in wait. The perception technique is activated, and a 3D map is gradually formed in the mind. In the picture, there are people, trees, and green spirits. For the scene given by the perception technique, Will is just for reference and is not superstitious. Obtaining the scene from the perception technique is not the real-time broadcast of the satellite monitor, the ability to see the future, or the ability to see through the cause and effect, but just a slightly complicated calculation. Sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, human beings receive a lot of information from the outside world every moment, and the human brain can only process a small part of it. People often exclaim, "Hey? It's right next to me so I didn't notice it, so I'm wearing my glasses properly, why did you write the word 141? The capacity of the brain is beyond imagination. And what people can use is only a small part of it. Perception can integrate all the information perceived by the brain. It seems that there are a lot of things that I don't know. The ability to predict the future is actually the result of existing information or inference from existing information. If there is something I don't know, or the other party is hiding a secret method that is not known to the public. Once you blindly believe in the scene given by the perception technique, you will be in a disadvantageous situation for yourself. On the contrary, the more you know, the more realistic the scene you see, the more correct the future you predict, the more beneficial you are, and the more desperate your enemies will be. The figure of the Beast Master has not been found yet. What Will sees in his eyes, and the 3D scene in his mind, are only ordinary green elf soldiers. Among the green elves, the Beast Master corresponds to the night level. It took so much effort to besiege the princess, release the bait, and set up an ambush. Even a night level 1 is not willing to take it out. Is it possible? Despite all the doubts and vigilance in his heart, Will's speed did not change at all. Will was spotted 500 meters away from the green spirit's ambush. It should have been discovered long ago, but the attack was not launched until now. In the darkness, a black arrow with the length of a forearm shot out, piercing the front leg of the mount under Will's crotch. After a terrible growl, the galloping horse fell forward, throwing Will out. Will was still in the air, dozens of poisoned arrows rained down on Will. The arrows are shot from a short bow specially made by the green elves. The advantage is that it is fast, accurate, and ruthless. The disadvantage is that the range is short and the power is weak. There is no way to increase the range. As for power, isn't it enough to apply poison? Green spirits are a group of people who are good at making poison. As long as the poisoned bow and arrow is scratched, the great knight will suffer. Tyrants. The white light covered Will's body surface like a transparent film. Dozens of black arrows jingled on Will's body without even scratching the skin. Overlord Body is one of Will's 3 night skills, which can greatly enhance defense, dozens of times stronger than ordinary shining armor. After using the Overlord Body, Will won't even break his skin in the face of the big knight's full blow. It's just that the tyrant's experience greatly affects the speed, and the vitality required to defend is several times that of the attacking side. Therefore, among the only 3 night skills, the Overlord Body is the most tasteless. Rolled to the ground, and stepped on the ground with both feet. A white mist gushes out from the calves of both feet. On the ground, a shallow pit with a diameter of more than 1 meter appeared with a bang. Will turned into a jet plane, and his speed soared several times, reaching an astonishing 700 km per hour. In an instant, the body shot straight into the darkness ahead. Chapter 147. The distance of 500 meters was spanned in 3 seconds. Holding the holy sword Lionheart that won today's game and roaring, under the astonished eyes of the green elves, he rushed into the ambush of the green elves. The 5 green spirits who bore the brunt were chopped off by Will. As expected of a holy sword, it's quite easy to handle. The holy sword Lionheart roared, and after several hours of research, Will didn't see a reason. It's better than ordinary swords, it's not an enchanted weapon, I don't know the material, and it doesn't seem to have special functions. All kinds of legends about the holy sword came to mind for a while. Legends and legends are passed around, and the content has changed many times. Although the holy sword is not as powerful as in the legend, Will is not disappointed. After all, it's just a knight's thing. Compared with a wizard, no matter how powerful it is. Will sighed in his heart, before you get a powerful magic weapon, let's make do with it. Under his feet, the green spirit that was severed by Will was still wriggling. Xiao Qiang has the same vitality. The vitality of the green spirit is disgustingly strong. Originally thought that only green spirit beast masters were like this, but Will was wrong. Fortunately, ordinary green elves are just dead but not stiff. If every one of them is like the old green elves I met in the Intis forest back then, I might have to be planted here. The green elves, who were already dead, were ignored. Will made a beeline for the hideouts of the other green goblins. Greasy green spirits fell at Will's feet one by one. The green spirits are short in stature, and their physical fitness is much worse than that of the human race. Even the beast masters who are strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with second-class apprentices are only as strong as human knights. In the jungle, relying on powerful concealment skills, you can fight against the human race. Once the figure is exposed, it is pitifully weak. One after another, the green spirits were found and killed by Will. The poisonous arrows that are deadly to others can't even scratch Will's skin. He wanted to sacrifice himself to stop Will and create attack opportunities for his friends, but Will died like a weed. Too weak, too weak, too weak. Will looked at the howling green spirit with pity. The green goblin kept making weird syllables. Although Will doesn't understand the language of the green elves, and can't understand what they are saying, but with his profound knowledge and in-depth understanding of human nature, Will can probably guess the meaning. I'm so sorry to be a green spirit. If I can die at the hands of humans, I will die without regret. In the next life, I must be reincarnated as a human being. As a humble and filthy green spirit, I actually act like a noble and perfect human being, I should die. The specific words may be different, but the content should be similar. Will thought so. Let me end your dirty life for you, and purify your life full of sin. Will felt that death, for the green spirit, was a relief. I hear your heartfelt desire to die. I received it, your pain for being a green spirit. I will forgive you for your past sins. I hope that you can also become a member of the human race in the next life and work together for a better future for the human race. Will's sword, like the scythe of death, is constantly harvesting life. Sissy. The beastmaster of the green spirit family finally appeared. A dark green horse suddenly hangs down from the branch. The eyes on the dangerous triangular head stared straight at Will, and the scarlet tongue stuck out, deep in the throat, exuding a stench. A thick green liquid spewed out from the mouth of the forest green python, rushing towards Will. Is this the trick again? The poison of the forest green python is a big threat even if its physique is as strong as Will's. With a wave of the sword in his hand, the white air wave turned into a heavy hammer, knocking out the venom all at once. Will stepped on his foot, and his body came to the green python of the forest as if teleporting. Before the forest green python had time to react, he chopped off his head with a sword. In order to prevent the severed head from jumping up and biting people, Will took a branch and nailed the head to the trunk. Is there only one beast master? The forest green python is very powerful, but it is not enough to fight Kylan, Mecha and 300 elite cavalry. Come out! Will yelled. The surviving green elves hide in the surroundings, surrounding Will. Will glanced around. Will sensed a dangerous atmosphere, and the hairs on his body stood on end. I can't even see it with my real eyes. Is it the beast master? I don't know how many more. I hope I can have a good time, don't just come to 3 or 5. Suo suo suo. The surrounding trees shook violently. 20-meter-long forest green pythons were swimming quickly in the woods. 1, 2, 3, 4. The more he counted, the more surprised Will felt. Is the number of green pythons in the forest a bit too much? Has the green spirit recruited all the beast masters from all over the country? Will felt a hint of retreat in his heart. Shouldn't even the official wizard level come? In the library of the Jalo School of Potions, Will checked the information about the green spirit in detail. There are official wizards on the human side. The green spirit has been able to fight humans for many years, and it also has a formal wizard level existence, called a spiritual teacher. What abilities does a spiritualist have? How strong? What is the amount? The records in the book are vague. All Will needs to know is that once he encounters a spiritualist, he will surely die. Some time ago, when he was hunted down by a king-level monster, Will still trembles physically and mentally whenever he thinks about it. Exit the siege first and observe. It is impossible for the spiritual teacher to come, he must be worrying too much. But not afraid of 10,000, just in case. Be careful in everything. 36 strategies are the best strategy. You killed so many people of my tribe and ruined our plan, so you want to leave? Behind the empty person, hoarse words suddenly came to mind. Who? The eye of truth in Will's left eye widened. All he saw was a hazy shadow rushing towards him, and before he could react, the shadow whipped Will's abdomen like a whip, knocking Will into the air. A red mark appeared on Will's abdomen. There is black air in the red seal, obviously poisonous in the attack. What the hell is going on? Who attacked me? What was the attack? Before Will could figure it out, the surroundings were already shrouded in light green mist. This is the neurotoxin of the green python of the forest. If it breathed in, even Will's body would be paralyzed. Will immediately held his breath and closed the pores all over his body. It's not suitable to stay here for long. Just as the thought of running away rose in Will's mind, the surrounding green elf soldiers raised their bows and rained arrows towards Will. The rain of arrows couldn't hurt Will, but it managed to hinder Will's footsteps. A forest of green pythons hung down from the branches, and their scarlet eyes stared at Will playfully, as if they were looking at a person who must die. I didn't expect to catch a big fish. Killing a special envoy of the kingdom, this trip is worth it. Voices from two different green spirits rang in Will's ears. Looking around, there was no trace of the green spirit around him. Chapter 148. What the hell is attacking me? Will frowned. Before Will could think about it, an invisible attack landed on his back. Hiss! The wizard apprentice's robe was torn, and 3 scratches appeared on Will's back, exuding a stench. The green mist is getting thicker and thicker. Green leaves rot, bark falls off, and stones change color. I can barely hold on to the neurotoxin released by dozens of green pythons. During the battle, you will not be given a chance to think about it. Under normal circumstances, it is to follow the deepest instinct in the heart, and to speak rashly. Kill the green python first, and then consider other things. Stepping with both feet, the speed suddenly soared. A cold light flashed, and the head of a green python shot up into the sky. With a backhand flick, a hideous wound was drawn on the belly of the other green python. Sissy! The green pythons stared at Will ferociously, spraying a thick green liquid from their mouths. The deadly poisonous liquid enveloped Will from all directions. The green pythons are far away from Rewell. The green spirit soldiers also knew that Will's close combat ability was too strong, so they only dared to shoot back arrows from a distance to hinder Will's movements. Because, whether it is the green spirit or the green python, in close combat, they are not the enemy of Will once. If you want to defeat Will, you can only rely on long-range attack and speed. A third-class apprentice? The physical body is too strong, you need a siege crossbow to kill him. The green python's poison is still effective for him, we don't have to be afraid. Facing the oncoming venom, Will pointed in one direction, swung a wave of air vigorously, made a gap, and rushed there. Well! Suddenly, a huge force hit Will's chest from the front. Immediately, his body flew backwards and fell surrounded by venom. Sitsizi! Will was drenched in venom, and the corrosive venom continued to corrode Will's body and drilled into his body. He's dead. He's poisoned, he's finished. Let's go and capture the princess. The green elves were talking with victorious faces. In the empty space beside Will, the green spirit's words sounded again. Can't even the overlord body completely block the venom? Will's heart froze, the target is you. The moment the green python relaxed, Will rushed out covered in venom. With one sword, the head of a green python was cut in half. Before the dead green python fell down, Will immediately rushed to the other one. The green python targeted by Will opened its huge mouth in horror, and the thick green venom spewed out like a water column, hitting Will's face. After using the tyrant's body to resist venom, he rushed to the green python and cut it into 3 pieces with 2 swords. Is it only to this extent? As if addicted to killing, the green pythons died under Will's sword one by one. The green spirits and green pythons who wanted to escape, finally couldn't stand it anymore. That human wants to pull a few backs before dying. He must be stopped, too many green pythons have died. Damn it, the speed of the green python can't outrun his. The green spirit cursed at Will, and at the same time kept shooting arrows at Will, hindering Will. With so much venom, he must be dying soon, as long as we delay it a little longer. All the green spirits thought so in their hearts. Will, however, is doomed to disappoint the green spirit. It wasn't until after killing the 19th green python that Will finally figured out what was going on. These green pythons are so incompetent that they don't want anyone to control them at all. The wild green python is powerful. But due to IQ, the strength is not at the same level as the green python controlled by the beast master. The green python slaughtered by Will like a chicken is too weak. The aura of wisdom in the eyes is also very weak. Yes, it must be like this. As I said, how could it be possible to send so many beast masters? Will understood in his heart. You must know that the Casta kingdom of the green elves has only a few million people. There are only a few hundred beast masters in the country of green spirits. Humans and green spirits have a total of 7 battlefields. Considering that not every green spirit joins the army, beast masters are also needed to guard the country. Therefore, there are no more than a dozen beast masters assigned to each battlefield. Usually there are no more than a dozen beast masters dispatched in a battle. In a battle of 100,000 troops, the number of beast masters was only a few dozen. How could it be possible to send dozens of beast masters directly in order to catch a mere princess? Still so weak? Is it the Beast King? For each group, when the number reaches a certain level, there will be a king who commands the group. The green python of the forest is no exception. In the information about the green spirit that I saw, it was recorded that some powerful beast masters indirectly control dozens of hundreds of green pythons through the king of forest green pythons. It's just too difficult. As a king, you have your own dignity. In many cases, you would rather die than submit to others. Besides, you conquered the king, and then the other green pythons don't recognize it. Why don't they just choose a new green python? The green spirit who controls the green python king must have a very high status, at least at the same level as Commander Tai Li. Will's eyes scanned the group of green pythons. TCH, it feels like they all look the same. Will couldn't see the difference between the green pythons at all. Kill them all. Will was sure in his heart that the spiritual master was not involved in this ambush. As more and more green pythons died, the green elves gradually became anxious, and many green elves even sneaked over from a distance, trying to plot against Will. After the death of 13 green spirits, the green spirits never dared to approach Will again. The green elves watched Will anxiously. Why aren't you dead yet? 3 more green pythons have died, which is already the 43rd one. Damn humans! The green python is decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Snapped. Will was knocked away by an invisible attack again. 5 thick green water jets sprayed towards Will in the air. The body surrounded by the thick green venom fell to the ground, motionless like a piece of dead meat. Finally dead? With so much poison, is he a monster? Really dead? Who will go up and make sure? The green elves were talking in low voices. He shot a few arrows at Will from a distance. But after a long time, none of the green spirits approached, and they were still terrified. Aren't you even pretending to be dead? It's too cautious. But that's okay. Looking at the 3D scene that emerged in his mind, Will smiled. Since Will massacred the green pythons, the invisible attacks suddenly increased. Unfortunately, you are only invisible, eliminating breath and weakening the sense of existence. Although you are very comprehensive and powerful, you will still generate wind, footprints, and smell when you move. Because the hiding ability is too strong, and it is in the melee, it is extremely difficult to find. Enough information has been gathered. The perception technique is turned on and fully operational. The map in his mind was constantly changing, the sound of the green spirit's footsteps, the fear of the surviving green python, and the black arrow shot to determine his life and death. And an extremely dim shadow like a stick figure drawn casually. After all, I still caught the braid. Chapter 149. Will's body exploded suddenly. With a hot white light, it descended from the sky and chopped down with a sword. Click! It feels like chopping on a stone. But how can a mere stone block Will's full blow? The cut creature broke in two, and the cold blood drenched Will's body. A cold-blooded animal? What Will killed was a huge lizard. A giant python more than 20 meters long was wrapped around the lizard's body, which was obviously much larger than ordinary green pythons. Both the lizard and the green python were severed by Will, struggling to die on the ground. He stared at the two pale green spirits sitting on the lizard's head. Good night. Without any hesitation. With a strong swing of the sword in his hand, the two green spirits were cut in two at the same time. The strength of these two green elves is much stronger than those encountered in the Intis forest, so be careful. Thinking so, Will quickly chopped the green elves into pieces. Immediately afterwards, he rushed to the remaining green spirits without stopping. The green spirit fled in terror. But green spirit's speed was far inferior to Will's, and his simple concealment skills seemed to not exist in his real eyes. 231 green spirits and 55 green pythons were all killed by Will. Sitting on the lizard on both sides of the short scale, wiped off the sweat from his brow, those guys really know how to run for their lives, and it took me a lot of time. After killing the green spirit and the green python, Will took some time to take a shower to expel the toxins from his body. He waved his hand, my body still feels a little heavy, it seems that I need to rest for 2 or 3 days to get better. He had been poisoned by too much green python's venom tonight. If it wasn't for the knight's martial arts superpower, he would have already lost his fighting power. Haha, if I didn't take into account the existence of the super body, my fighting style would not be so reckless. Caressing the cold lizard corpse, is it an invisible lizard? What a powerful monster! Just being invisible, Will wasn't afraid. Just hiding the breath is not very powerful. Just to weaken the sense of presence, he will too. But when the three abilities are combined, it is too scary. If the green spirits had known my strength earlier, and I was the one who ambushed them, and they had prepared weapons to kill me, would I have survived? The answer is no. Facing the invisible lizard, Will took a long time to find the flaw. I already have information about invisible lizards in my mind, and I will definitely not have any problems next time I encounter them. The main reason for my loss this time is my ignorance of invisible lizards. But among the green elves, the most powerful summoned beast is not just an invisible lizard. Look up at the star-studded night sky. Thousands of meters above the sky, Will's line of sight collided with a giant golden-winged eagle. He could feel the anger, hatred, and deep fear in the eyes of the golden-winged giant eagle. The golden-winged giant eagle hovered and screamed, its sharp eyes cut Will's body like a knife. Will withdrew his gaze, lowered his head and sighed, is there still no way to deal with flying enemies? The golden-winged giant eagle is one of the most important summoned beasts of the green elves. The golden-winged giant eagle is not the strongest in combat power, nor is it the most abnormal in ability, but it is definitely the most useful, the greatest contributor, and the most hated monster on the human side. Warcraft at an altitude of several thousand meters, let alone me, even a formal wizard, I'm afraid there is nothing I can do about it. Will cut off the poison sac of the green python, picked up the heads of the two green beast masters, and ran towards the direction where the princess was attacked. When he arrived, all he saw was a ship completely covered in flames. Around, lay many green spirits and human bodies. Has the princess been rescued? Has anyone returned? After searching around, but finding nothing of value, Will walked towards Kava City. Since he didn't have a horse and his physical condition was not very good, Will stopped and walked. When he saw the city wall of Kawa City, the sky was already white and it was almost dawn. Master Will, are you all right? The patrolling cavalry found Will. The suspension bridge was lowered, and the heavy city gate opened, revealing a gap for 3 people to walk side by side. In the city, Commander Kylan greeted her with dark circles in her eyes. Master Will, it's great that you're fine. Kylan wanted to hug Will, but her body froze. Considering the difference between men and women, she stopped. Didn't I say it? Believe me. Will laughed. Master Will, are you all right? When I went looking for you, there were many remains of green pythons there, but after searching for an hour, I couldn't find you, so I... Kylan felt ashamed that she had given up on Will. It's normal for Kylan to not be able to find Will. At that time Will went to hunt down the Green Goblin. The Green Goblins were running around in all directions, and it took Will a lot of time. It's more important to protect the princess. Will expressed his understanding. What's wrong with the princess? His Royal Highness is resting, do you want to see Her Royal Highness? In Kylan's view, Will, as the kingdom's special envoy, might meet the princess. No, I'm quite tired too, I need to take a good rest. After speaking, Will threw a package in his hand on the ground. What's this? Caroline asked. The heads of 2 green spirit beast masters, they have caused me a lot of trouble. Will said. Opening the package, looking at the heads of the 2 green goblins in the bag, Kylan exclaimed, Doug? Kinu? You know them? Will asked in surprise. As far as Will could see, the green goblins all had the same face. Unless there are some special signs, such as scars, beards, baldness, or being very young or very old, there is no difference at all. Of course I know them. They are our old opponents, especially Doug. He alone leads dozens of forest green pythons, which can reach tens of thousands of troops. Kylan said, looking at Will with complicated eyes. Kanu, the Beast Master, is no less than Kylan in the green spirit. Doug, the Beast Master, can stop thousands of troops with one person, and his status among the green elves is comparable to that of Commander-in-Chief Tai Li. Unexpectedly, they were all killed by Will overnight. The head was casually thrown to the foot by Will, treated like a weed. Master Will, do you know? You have made great contributions. As long as you think about it, even the position of Commander-in-Chief is not a problem. Kylan joked. I'm not interested in the Commander-in-Chief, you just need to tell me how much military merit you can get. Will asked. The 2 Beast Masters, should there be other green spirit soldiers? The combined military merits should be in the thousands. Killing a Beast Master with the same status as the commander, do you want military merit? Kylan looked at Will strangely. Remember, don't write down your military achievements all at once. It's 300 a month. It's better not to have more, but absolutely not less, do you understand? Will asked. I will give orders. After getting Kylan's recovery, Will said, I'm a little tired, so I'll go back to my room to rest. Don't come to me if you have nothing to do in the next few days. My lord princess, she said that if you... Princess? It's none of my business. Will didn't give the princess any face. Within 3 days, it's not related to the survival of Kava City. Don't bother me, understand? Yes. Kylan's short and powerful answer was the answer a qualified soldier would give. Nodding to Kylan, kicking his feet, Will's figure rushed towards the residence. Master Will feels different from those before? The guards beside Kylan watched Will's back and said with emotion. Yes, Lord Will, he wants, much more special. After thinking for a long time, Kylan could only choke out this sentence. Chapter 150. The toxin of the forest green python is still too strong. Even if it has a strong body, it still can't bear it after resisting so much. Upon returning to the villa, Will immediately went to the basement to recuperate after instructing the servants not to be disturbed. The toxin of the forest green python is very powerful, but Will's physique is not vegetarian. Moreover, after many years of fighting with the green spirit, the army has long studied the venom of the green python, and there is an antidote, but the effect of the antidote is not satisfactory. Most of the poisoned people died without even drinking the antidote. In just 1 day, my body has already gotten better. In the next 2 days, while recuperating, also conduct a battle summary, analyze your own shortcomings, the strengths of the enemy, and so on. All the information about the invisible lizard is engraved in my mind, and the next time I meet it, I definitely won't suffer as much as this time. Sitting cross-legged on the marble floor, Will let out a long breath, and there was a crackling sound like fried beans all over his body. If it had been stronger this time, it wouldn't have been so hard. The battle process was all seen by the golden-winged giant eagle. My information strength should have been passed to the top of the green essence for analysis. The 2 times I encountered the green essence, it was only when the enemy was clear and the enemy was in the dark that I carried out a sneak attack and won so smoothly. But the green spirit is the guy who is best at sneak attacks. Fortunately, considering the existence of the golden-winged giant eagle, I didn't show all my strength. The plan that the green spirit is making against me should not pose much threat to me. It's still useful to hide your strength, but you can't blindly hide it, and you have to show it occasionally, otherwise it's not good to be looked down upon. Sure enough, strength is the most important thing. Will sighed in a low voice. If he is an official wizard, he doesn't need to be so cautious in his actions. The ambitions in my heart can also be stated openly, and the people are called to take action. I absolutely can't die. If I die, who will change this world? Will stood up. It's time to go out and have a look. Commander Terry and the others should have a lot to ask me, including the matter of the princess. I don't know if the princess is enjoying the good fortune in the palace. Why did she come to Kava City secretly? The legendary escaped marriage? Or is the princess a strange woman who has the world in her heart and is determined to join the army? Or innocent, out of curiosity, willful? As long as it doesn't affect me, everything is easy to talk about. At this stage, Will is not interested in the princess at all. Strength is what I should pursue most. Only strong power can express my ambition. Walking out of the basement, the maid Ava immediately bowed respectfully to Will. What's going on lately? Will asked as he walked. Master Tookie has been looking for you for 3 days, saying that he has something very important to discuss with you. Ava replied. It's Tookie? Will was a little surprised. It was not surprising that someone was looking for him. Whether it's Kaelin, Terry, or Princess, there are very good reasons. Tookie? When he was in the academy, Tookie always wanted to get close to Will. Along the way, he finally became acquainted with Will. After coming to Kawa City, due to the great discrepancy between Tookie and Will's lifestyle, action time, and planning arrangements, the two gradually lost communication. In the living room, Tookie sat on the table tasting wine, holding a beautiful girl on the left and right sides. Do you have to bring a woman with you when you come to me? Will was speechless. Have fun, understand? I won't bring it, the maid in your house. Would you like to play for me? Tookie gave Will a white look. Then reluctantly motioned them to go out. After closing the door. Tell me, what do you want to see me for? Will lazily leaned back on the chair. Will, do you know the identity of the princess we rescued? Tookie's facial expressions showed that he knew the identity of the princess. I don't know. Will replied simply. Aren't you curious? Tookie was taken aback. If you want to know the identity of the princess, you only need to ask some high-level military officials. If you are too lazy to ask in person, you can send an attendant to ask. Anyway, the identity of the princess is not a military secret. Not interested in. It's not that Will has no interest in the princess at all, it's just that there are more important things at this stage. And Will has a feeling that it's best not to have anything to do with the princess. Tookie shook his head and smiled wryly. You really have your style. You came to me, is it related to the princess? Will asked. Yet. Tookie didn't make a fool of himself. She is the second princess of the Amona Empire, Corinne Hill, 26 years old this year, and the reason why she came to Kawa City is not as simple as others believe. Even you, I'm afraid you can't think of it. Tookie paused. Keep looking at Will, as if waiting for his reaction. What is she here for? Will asked helplessly. You should know that the royal family has extremely strong blood, right? Among the royal family, the chance of awakening the blood is very high. Tookie said. No. Will had never heard of it before. But it's not surprising to hear it all of a sudden. Rather, it is a matter of course. This world is a world where power comes first. A strong personality? Extraordinary leadership? Great skill of controlling ministers? In the previous life, it was not feasible in this world to judge whether an emperor was powerful or not. Only with strength can one maintain a high position and stand on top of a country. In the royal family, there are many ancient books, which contain countless ancient and mysterious knowledge. Only members of the royal family can read them. Tookie said with longing. So? Before Tookie could answer, Will said, the second princess named Kaelin accidentally found a hidden map from an ancient book. The location of the map is near Kawa City? You know. Tookie's eyes widened in surprise. Let me guess. Are caves marked on the map? Ruins? Treasure places? Because there may be danger, so the princess invited you, and you invited me? Will asked. It seems that you have guessed it. Tookie spread his hands. Yes, I am here to invite you, Will, join us, explore together, face difficulties together, and harvest together. Once successful, we will obtain unimaginable treasures. What treasure is it? Will asked a little excitedly. It's a remnant left over from the era of the Holy Empire. It is rumored that it is a place where formal wizards often gather. There must be many valuable things in it. If we get it, the magic stones needed to advance to third-class apprentices are enough. Tucci persuaded. Chapter 151. A formal gathering place for wizards? After thinking for a while, Will shook his head and said, "We can't covet such a dangerous place, so I advise you to give it up." At this stage, Will doesn't want to have anything to do with official wizards. He has already suffered a loss. Even after 4 months, Will still occasionally wakes up from a nightmare in a cold sweat. It has been dilapidated for thousands of years. It is rumored that it has been patronized by wizards many times. Everything that is useful to official wizards must have been taken away. Is also extremely precious. Tucci explained. In other words, the harvest is unknown? Maybe there is nothing? Nothing in this world is 100%. What dangers are there along the way? What is the level of danger? Are there any countermeasures prepared? The map is very incomplete. You can only know what will be there after you go to the specific place and look at it. The harvest is unknown, the danger is unknown, and the method is unknown. Do you dare to participate in such a bad thing? Will rolled his eyes. I advise you to give up. I have a hunch that nothing good will happen by following that princess. Back then, Will took the initiative to enter the Snake Man territory where king-level monsters were in charge. After thinking about various countermeasures, I prepared all kinds of props. How is the result? Adventures are not desperate. For things related to life, the interference of luck must be minimized. Will is very dissatisfied with this operation that Tucci said. The degree of difficulty, danger, personnel, countermeasures, props, need to be prepared. There are so many things, it may take a few days of adventure, and you need to prepare for months or even years in advance. Tucci gave too little information. It's like having a brain twitch and directly risking your life to take risks. He has seen too many people like this. His eldest brother, Bell, left home to embark on an adventurer's journey because of a momentary longing for adventurers, and then died. In the previous life, there were many such examples, which were often reported in the news. Whenever he saw this kind of news before, he always looked at the eyes of a fool, and thought to himself, how did this stupid guy grow up? We have no choice. Tucci sighed. Will looked at Tucci strangely. Their current situation, is it okay? Isn't it time to work hard? Will, what do you think it means to be sent to the station? Tucci asked. The resident always needs people. The resident needs not only people, but a lot of people. Will wished that there would be dozens or hundreds of wizard apprentices stationed in each station. But we were abandoned. Tucci looked sad. I'm already 22 years old, are you 22? How far is it from the 30-year-old limit? If you don't work hard, don't you wait to die? There are more choices. Will understood Tucci's urgency. Comprehensible is understood. The situation is different, the ability is different, and the choices made are completely different. Tucci felt that the two of them had come to an end, and it was time to gamble everything. In Will's view, it wasn't. He has better options. On the surface, people will be sent to the station every year, and it is possible to change people every year, but there are too few people, and there are not enough points. It is impossible to go back in less than 3 years. Tucci sighed. Indeed. Will nodded. I know you are very strong, powerful, and good at potions. If it were you, maybe you could get 30 intermediate magic stones every month. In 3 years, you can store enough magic stones to hit third-class apprentices. But... Tucci stared at Will. Advanced third-class magic stones need more than just magic stones. Knowledge, mental power, advanced body training methods, which one, doesn't it take a lot of time? Tucci makes sense. If it was an ordinary person, they might have been persuaded by Tucci. The other party in question is Will. Mental strength? Already reached the target. Advanced forging method? As long as the source power is enough, it is not a problem at all. Knowledge? It does take a lot of time, and you need to make up a lot of intermediate and advanced courses. But compared to other people, he spent much less time on mental strength and physical training, so regardless of gains and losses, his growth rate was faster and more stable than that of ordinary apprentices. Others, during the 3 years in the academy, earned magic stones, learned knowledge in class, and received guidance from their instructors, but we have a maximum of 30 magic stones per month, which is settled in one lump sum after 3 years, Ha he he, ha ha ha. Tucci laughed at himself. Will looked at Tucci with sad eyes. After all, I have known Tucci for a few months, and seeing him on the verge of collapse makes me feel very uncomfortable. I won't go, but I can support you. Will sighed, I can still refine some low-level potions, magic stones, it doesn't matter if you owe it first. Will, are you really not going to join us? Tucci was still unwilling to give up. You are different from me, you are a genius among geniuses. Under normal circumstances, the chance of you becoming a third-class apprentice is within 100 more than 90%, but now. Tucci looked at Will, if you don't seize it now, you won't have a chance in the future. If more detailed information can be provided, it's not that I can't think about it. Will replied. You let me down so much. Where did your courage to face the king-level monster go? Now you are just a coward. Tucci slammed the door and left in disappointment. Looking at the back of Tucci leaving, Will took a sip of red wine. You are wrong, I never had that kind of courage. The courage to face king-level monsters? Hee hee. This kind of thing, whoever wants to just take it. I know you are desperate, the problem is that I can't protect myself. His current situation is also quite bad. I will do my best to help you within the scope of my ability. Because the magic stone he needs to advance is far higher than that of ordinary apprentices. The magic stones earned during the 3 years in the residence were simply not enough. If you don't want to find a way to earn a little extra money, you will really miss the third-class apprentice, as Tucci said, and die after the age of 30. It would be great if the information you provided could be more detailed. Will, is not for the faint of heart. Just don't do things you're not sure about. Over the past 20 years, he has made many adventures. For the first time, a person entered the Red Moon Forest alone, was betrayed by a hunter, angered the 4-armed ghost ape, and only after paying a huge price did he manage to kill the 4-armed ghost ape. The second time, he entered the lair of the 4-armed ghost ape with Rep, and as a result, Rep died, and he also endured 3 years of torture. The third time, going to troll territory, everyone died except him. For the fourth time, I went to the Snake Man's territory. Until now, that terrifying scene still appeared in my dream. 4 adventures, which one did not make sufficient research beforehand? Fully prepared props? Have a route in mind? Have you predicted all the difficulties you may encounter along the way? Even with such adequate planning in advance, accidents will still happen, and there will still be a painful price to pay. And the adventure that Tucci said. In Will's view, it's not a risk at all, it's nonsense, a gamble, and a fight for luck with one's life. When a person is facing a desperate situation, it is not up to you to choose. So, Will help Twitch because he knows Twitch has no choice. I hope that I will encounter such a situation less in the future. Chapter 152. Tucci did not give up inviting Will. After that, they came a few more times, and Princess Coronai also appeared. Princess Coronai is a tall, blonde girl with a protruding front and back. She is half a head taller than Will, measuring 1.8 meters tall. As long as you stand on the runway, you are a top model. Unfortunately, neither Princess Corinne nor Tucci can convince Will. About a month later, Princess Coronai took Tucci and 20 knights gathered from the army, and set off for the legendary ruins. Will helped Tucci a lot of potions. The cost price of those potions is only about a dozen intermediate magic stones, but if you buy them outside, it is impossible to buy them without hundreds of intermediate magic stones. Besides, even if you have magic stones for these things, you can't buy them in Kawa City. From here, Will also saw a way to earn magic stones. Refine potion, store it, and sell it when you return to the academy. It will definitely be a big income, but Will couldn't help it, the materials are given by the army, so it's not good for me to deduct them privately, right? But if I want to buy the mining raw materials myself, the speed is too slow, the cost is too high, and the gain outweighs the loss. The ingredients for potions are not so easy to find. It's not worth spending a lot of time on it. After thinking hard for a while, Will came up with a compromise. Why not? I got military merit because I made contributions to the army. Because I am not a member of the army, there is no way to reward me in the army, it all depends on the rewards given by the academy. For 100 military merits, I can get 10 intermediate level magic stones, and I can get up to 30 intermediate level magic stones every month. I do things for the military for free. So, it's okay for me to charge a little, right? After thinking about it, he felt that this method would work. Because I collect the reward unilaterally, so I suffer a little. For every 100 military merits, I will receive raw materials worth 1 intermediate magic stone. The raw material of an intermediate magic stone, after refining it into a potion, the general price can be increased by more than 10 times. Considering the success rate of refining, you can probably earn 10 intermediate magic stones. 400 military merits per month is already the limit of what I can achieve without affecting my cultivation. But this is also very good. I have contributed to the army and I have also harvested magic stones. Everyone is happy. In this way, he can get 40 intermediate magic stones every month. 1 year 480, 3 years, 1440. It's still far from the magic stone needed to advance to a third-class apprentice. It's estimated that it will need to be doubled. I thought about it for a long time, but I still didn't think of a better way to earn magic stones. Let's do this for now, and we'll think about the magic stone later. In the blink of an eye, I have been in Kawa City for 6 months. 6 months have passed, and none of the people who went to explore the ruins came back. Is it too far to arrive? Got a problem and are struggling to solve it? Or is it all gone? There is no way of knowing the answer. As for Will, he just continued to practice and become stronger according to his own rhythm. 2 months ago, he had already used up the star silver liquid and officially became a second-class apprentice. But this is just the beginning. Afterwards, he will continue to use the intermediate body training method to draw out the magic power to temper the body again and again, so that the body will continue to become stronger and adapt to the magic power, laying a solid foundation for the future fusion of the magic species. According to this progress, it will take about a year to reach the peak of a second-class apprentice. After feeling the changes in his body, Will came to this conclusion. The speed is much faster than ordinary apprentices. But this is also a matter of course, because his intermediate body training method is level 5, the highest level. I'm afraid there isn't a single person in the academy who can practice intermediate level body exercises to this extent. Therefore, it is normal to practice faster than ordinary apprentices. When my strength reaches the peak of a second-class apprentice and I can't go any further, I will have more time to specialize in researching potions and earn magic stones. 40 intermediate magic stones a month, the amount is still too small. Even if it is doubled, it is barely enough. My strength has been further strengthened. After becoming a second-class apprentice, Will's physical fitness has been strengthened a lot. Strength, reaching a terrifying 30,000 kilograms, can lift 30,000 kilograms, but this does not mean that the attack power is only 30,000 kilograms. Combined with my night martial skills, the instantaneous burst can reach up to 35 times. The horror of power is far from what the burst mode can match. Unfortunately, I still haven't been able to find a substitute for the burst mode. Although in his normal state, when using night martial arts, his attack, speed, and defense are all above the burst mode, the problem is that the 3 night martial arts cannot be used at the same time, so the burst mode is more comprehensive and the comprehensive ability is stronger. Unfortunately, there is still no clue about the new mode that replaces the burst mode. Will wants to research a new and more powerful mode that can use night martial arts, but it doesn't seem to be going well. The defense power has also been strengthened a lot, and the recovery power has been strengthened the most. Now I can regenerate a broken limb by relying on self-healing power, but the speed is a bit slow. It may take several months to grow a finger again. What's depressing is that the speed has only increased by tens of kilometers, and the speed still hasn't broken through the 800 mark. The improvement of speed is much slower than that of strength. I'm afraid you have to reach the official wizard level before you can go supersonic. I used to see the speed increase so fast, and I thought that I would soon experience the feeling of moving at supersonic speed. A bit disappointed. Will once divided the strength of third-class wizards into 5 grades. Now my strength is probably at the peak of the 3rd gear. After 2 years of completion of the second-class apprentice, I should be able to reach the 4th gear. As for the 5th gear? The 5th gear relies on the magic weapon, and the strength is outside the wheel. A powerful magic weapon that can greatly enhance the combat effectiveness of apprentices. But the combat power fluctuates greatly. It may easily kill the 4th gear, or it may be defeated by the 1st gear. I heard that after becoming a 3rd-class apprentice, my strength will be enhanced qualitatively. I don't know how strong I will be. He is only a 2nd-class apprentice now, and his combat effectiveness is already the best among 3rd-class apprentices. Perhaps, we can fight against official wizards? This kind of thought flashed through his mind, and was soon deeply suppressed in his heart. Now I just need to think about how to become stronger. Before becoming an official wizard, it's best not to fight enemies at the level of an official wizard. An official wizard can no longer be called a human being. It's just a group of terrifying monsters with human appearance, speaking human language, and superior to humans. But that will eventually become history. The world where everyone is equal and everyone is like a dragon must be realized by my hands. Thoughts that cannot be acted on are just daydreams. So, taking advantage of the free time now, Will went to the practice room. Chapter 153. In the practice room. Will was wearing a loose white training room, and he was doing a set of punches slowly. This set of punches doesn't have any killing intent or evil spirit, it's like an old man stretching his body, it can't hurt people, and it doesn't seem to have any exercise effect on the body at all. That's true if you just look at the action. However, at this moment, Will's blood vessels burst out one by one like a horned dragon, wriggling like a giant python. The color of the blood flowing in the blood vessels is not the bright red of the arteries, nor the purple-black of the veins, but white, full of vitality. The heart is like a water pump, pumping life force into the whole body along the blood vessels. Intermediate body training method, you can use magic power to temper your body, and the power of life should be able to do it too. Along these lines, Will developed a new breathing technique. It's a pity that the body-quenching effect of the power of life is completely incomparable with magic power, but it is not useless. Tempering the body with magic power can strengthen the body. And the power of life quenches the body, which can nourish the body. Boom, boom, boom. The heart is beating strong and vigorously, the white light of life starts from the heart, flows through the blood vessels to all parts of the body, and returns to the heart along the blood vessels. With every beat of the heart, the life force completes a cycle. Suddenly, Will's face changed suddenly. The skin all over the body suddenly turned red, and several places on the body swelled up like tumors. When the tumor reached its limit, it exploded with a bang and blood spattered. Will kept adjusting his breathing, desperately controlling the power of life, and exerted his spiritual movement to the extreme. It wasn't until half an hour later that Will collapsed to the ground covered in blood. After drinking a bottle of healing potion, his pale complexion finally improved a lot. Tried, failed again. Is it still not working? It's too far-fetched to use the body training method to run the power of life. Body forging method is not more advanced than breathing method. The reason why the physical training method seems to be much more powerful at this stage is because of the research of wizards for thousands of years. As the smartest and most powerful group in the entire world, wizards have played a vital role in the development of body training. Pranayama does not have this treatment. The breathing method I'm researching now can nourish the body and repair the damage deep in the body. If it can be successfully created, it may be able to surpass the 30-year-old life limit. Unfortunately, it was too difficult. After resting for an hour, Will stood up again. This time, he was not practicing breathing. I saw him walking slowly in the practice room, circling along the surrounding walls, his speed getting faster and faster. The gust of wind caused by Will's fast walking became louder and louder, but the strange thing was that Will's figure became more and more blurred, almost turning into a puff of green smoke. If you don't look carefully, you can't see clearly at all. If someone entered the practice room at this time, they would probably wonder why the wind would rise for no reason in the sealed room. Maybe they will be scared away, and there will be rumors of ghosts in the room. This happened not because Will was too fast, but because he used the spiritual skill to weaken the breath. A skill that can reduce one's own sense of existence. The gust of wind in the house was getting fiercer, but Will's figure disappeared without a trace, as if he had completely merged into the air. Only the gust of wind that kept sweeping through the house proved that he was still in the room. Sudden clap, clap, clap. Accompanied by a few crisp cracking sounds, Will's body appeared. Standing helplessly in the middle of the practice room, with a disappointed expression on his face, I have trained the breath weakening to the 5th level, and it has been operated to the extreme, but as long as the movement is a little louder, the effect of the skill will be greatly reduced. He remembered the invisible lizard he met half a year ago. The invisible lizard can eliminate its own sense of existence and launch extremely violent attacks. Compared with it, I am far behind. He still knows the reason for this result. Is there a congenital constitution problem? Like the internal absorption method he had practiced, the same exercise, used by Itana, is much more powerful. But I can't just give up like this. Having reached the 5th level of a skill, it doesn't mean that it can't be improved anymore. It's just that the highest level displayed is level 5. If converted into numerical values, the minimum standard for reaching level 5 is 100. The highest standard of level 5 is unlimited. As long as I continue to specialize, my breath-weakening skills will one day reach the level of invisible lizards. However, Will doesn't have so much time to focus on skills right now. Upgrading to a third-class apprentice is the most important thing. Today is the day I made an appointment with Kylan, she should be here soon. Leave the practice room. After washing up, I changed into clean clothes and sat down in the hall to drink tea. Within a few minutes, Karen appeared. Kylan is wearing a black and red tight-fitting long dress today, with sharp eyes, a body that has been tempered for years, and an evil spirit all over her body, like a bloody flower blooming in the army. Due to the practice and breathing method, Kylan looks much younger than her actual age, about 25 or 6-year-old. Due to years of physical training and fighting on the battlefield, Kylan has no trace of the gentle temperament that a woman should have. Resolute, capable, and calm are the impressions of Kylan. Although the appearance is not stunning, it is also in the category of beautiful women. And because of Kylan's special status and temperament, it is easier to arouse a man's inner desire to conquer. This is the list. As soon as Kylan came in, she immediately talked about the subject. Received the information from Kylan. On it, there is a personal name and a brief introduction to each person. Have a sip of tea first, don't be so anxious. Will poured a cup of tea for Kylan. Gulu. Like drinking plain water, Kylan poured down the tea all at once. This is a good tea that I have specially processed. It can refresh the mind, sober up and nourish the body. How can you drink it like you do? Will said heartbroken. Drink it slowly, will the effect get better? Kylan asked. Well, the effect is the same. Will held his forehead speechlessly. Is it really okay for Commander Terry to let you take care of me? It seems that we are not very compatible. You are a very important person. The work you do for the military needs to be kept secret. Either I will come or Lyde. If you want Lyde to come, I can help you tell Lord Taylor. Kylan said. Forget it. Compared with Lyde, who is a muscular man, Kylan is more comfortable. It would be even better if it could be replaced by a gentle and pleasant beauty. It's a pity that in the army, such women don't exist at all. Will looked at the documents in his hand page by page, carefully. A total of 37 people? Will nodded and put down the information. Everyone is very suitable for my requirements. Then hurry up. Kylan stood up and pulled Will to walk out the door. Don't worry. Will sighed, it's not the first time, why are you still so nervous? One step slower is one life. Kylan said seriously. Chapter 154. Carrying a suitcase, Will was forcefully dragged out the door by Kylan. A carriage was already waiting there. A soldier in full body armor was holding the reins and sitting on the carriage. He was the coachman and Kylan's guard, possessing the peak strength of a knight. Kylan pulled Will into the carriage. As soon as he got into the carriage, there was the sound of the whip being whipped, and the wheels of the carriage began to turn with a rumble, and they walked towards the barracks. Will, how many people can be saved this time? Kylan asked in the carriage. This improved third version of Type B number 13 life potion has much more stable and milder properties, and the therapeutic effect is more significant, so it should be able to live about half of the people. Will replied. Simply refining potions can no longer satisfy Will. For half a year, Will also tried to research new drugs. A new drug related to vitality, which Will called life potion. The life potion contains a huge amount of vitality. Healing, recovery, and refreshment are only the most basic functions of the life potion. The most important function of the life potion is to increase the success rate of people's vitality. Everyone's body contains vitality, but very few can be stimulated. Why? Because the vitality of the human body is limited, it is difficult to stimulate it. Why are you slow to learn things? Because IQ is limited. Why can't I lift something heavier? Because of limited power. Why can't you beat others? Because the strength is limited. Perhaps, there are many solutions. Like looking for good learning methods, learning weightlifting skills, and finding gang fights. But Will decided to solve it from the most fundamental place. As long as the vitality is enhanced, even if it is only for a short period of time, the success rate of advancement will be greatly improved. If the potion of life can be popularized, the probability of human beings appearing knights can be doubled several times, and the combat effectiveness of the army may increase hundreds of times. However, life potions are not so easy to create. The vitality is too strong for the human body to bear. The vitality is too weak, equivalent to no. The vitality is too domineering to be integrated into the body, instead it will damage the human body. The vitality is too gentle, it can only nourish the body, it is equivalent to a big tonic, and the probability of stimulating the vitality is not high. To develop a brand new drug, experimentation is essential. But experimenting with new medicines can easily kill people or cause permanent damage to people's bodies. Fortunately, Will is now in Kawa City. Kawa City is a military fortress. Every day, every month, every year, people are injured and die. Every month, as few as 10 or as many as hundreds, Will doesn't have to worry about not having enough subjects. Those who can appear on Will's list have all suffered fatal injuries. After drinking the life potion, there is still a chance to survive. If you don't drink, you will die. How to choose? I believe that every wounded person knows what to do. The destination has arrived. Before getting out of the car, Will could already hear the noise outside. What's going on? This is where the wounded are treated, right? Why is it so noisy? Will said with a frown. I see who is so bold and dares to make a noise here. Kylan said angrily. Kylan swept the car curtain and walked down with anger. Outside the carriage, 5 strong men were stopped by guarding soldiers. Judging by the outfits of the 5 strong men, they should also be soldiers. Seeing Kylan, the 5 strong men immediately shouted excitedly. Commander Kylan, please, let us participate in the new drug experiment. The leader of the 5 pleaded. Life potion, as Will's new potion, although it is still very immature, the effect of the potion is slowly revealed. Every batch of wounded, among those who survived, there are 1 or 2 people who have stimulated their vitality, from a pre-knight to a quasi-knight, or from a quasi-knight to a knight. Even a fool can see the difficulty of life potion. In fact, the efficacy of the life potion fully met Will's requirements. It's just too dangerous. People with weak health, who drink it, have a high probability of dying directly. For a strong person, if they drink it, their internal organs are likely to be impacted by the powerful vitality, resulting in permanent damage. It's fine for knight-level people to drink it, but it's useless except for restoring their physical strength, and it's not as good as ordinary recovery potions. But even though the life potion is so dangerous, people still can't bear the temptation of power. Those people may be thinking in their hearts even seriously injured and dying people drink it, and the effect is so good. I drink it, and it stimulates vitality. Isn't that a 100% thing? Get them out. Karin ordered. Commander, please, Commander, let us participate, Lord Will. The 5 kept begging, but they were still taken down. You can't let that kind of person get close again, understand? Kylan gave instructions to the guards at the side, and then led Will to the place where the injured were. According to Will's instructions, each injured person used as an experiment was separated separately. Looking at the small tents standing in front of him, Will knew that inside were his next experimental subjects. If you use wizards and advanced secondary potions, most of them can be saved. Will can save them without the help of an official wizard. But the price is too high. The army couldn't afford expensive medicinal materials, and Will didn't have that much time to refine potions. Each of them is a living life, and they shouldn't have died. After suppressing a trace of guilt in his heart, Will entered the nearest tent, and Kylan waited outside the tent, not allowing anyone to approach. In the tent, on a simple wooden bed, lay a weak soldier with a pale face. Master Will. Hearing the sound of Will coming in, the soldier opened his eyes with difficulty, struggling to stand up. You don't move. Will stopped the soldier's next movement. I will save you, you will survive, there will be a little pain in the future, you need to be a ninja. Well, thank you sir, I can bear it. Will stuffed a soft ball with tiny holes into the soldier's mouth. This ball will not affect people's breathing, and it can also prevent biting the tongue because it is too painful during the treatment. Next, fix the limbs and tie the straps. He untied the bandage on the soldier's chest. On the left side of the soldier's chest close to the heart, there was a small hole the size of a little finger, and the wound had turned black and rotted. Is it the poison of the green essence? Most of the green spirit's weapons are painted with poison. Basically, people who are attacked by green spirits will either die or be disabled. For the poison of the green essence, the antidote can only play a role in relieving it. Whether it can survive or not depends entirely on luck. In the past 6 months, Will has treated hundreds of people, and more than 80% of them are dying of poisoning. It looked like a small wound, but it was enough to kill someone. The preparation of the antidote that can completely detoxify is too complicated. In the entire Kawa city, besides me, there is only one other military doctor who can prepare it. The cost is too high, and if it is not used in time, the toxicity will penetrate deep into the internal organs. There is no antidote. Detoxification is often much more difficult than poisoning. For some poisonous injuries, the antidote is powerless. Like neurotoxins, even if they are detoxified and survived, it is impossible to restore the destroyed nerves, so people are useless. It is better to die directly. Moreover, most of the poisons made by green spirits develop very quickly. It only takes 2 or 3 hours, and the person will definitely die. Even if he barely survives, the person will have to amputate his limbs, or lie in bed for the rest of his life. There are too many types of green essence poisons, and the price of each antidote is also very expensive. It is impossible to carry a copy for everyone. However, after being injured, withdrawn from the battlefield, and receiving treatment, usually several hours have passed, and it is hopeless. Chapter 155. One day, I will make the race of green spirits disappear on this planet. Looking at the painful wounded, Will thought silently. He opened the suitcase and took out 12 silver needles in a glass tube containing a pale gold potion. The wounded were tortured by the poison, and their bodies were already at the end of their strength. If you feed the life potion directly, there is a high chance that you will die suddenly. Therefore, Will first inserted the silver needles into the corresponding acupuncture points to stimulate the remaining potential in the wounded body. With every silver needle pierced, the injured person's complexion will improve, and the dry and thin body will gradually become plump and rosy. It's like a flashback before dying. Through acupuncture, Will stimulated the remaining vitality in the opponent's body. If you don't take measures in time, you will die within 3 minutes. I saw Will skillfully picked up the life potion, put it on the syringe, and comforted the injured. It will hurt a little, bear with it. After speaking, he did not wait for the other party to respond. With a snap, the long needle pierced through the wounded man's chest and pierced into the heart. The pale golden life potion was poured into the heart little by little, and flowed to the whole body with the beating of the heart. The blood of the wounded sounded like boiling water. The injured body was struggling violently, his expression was painful, and there was an inexplicable sob from his mouth. Fortunately, the restraint belt was tied in advance, and the ball was stuffed in the mouth, otherwise it would definitely affect the treatment process. After infusing the life potion, the opponent's blood vessels burst out, his heart beat vigorously like a drum, and the atrophied muscles all over his body swelled up like an inflated balloon. The whole body seemed to be on fire, exuding steaming heat. While observing the other party's reaction, Will recorded the data one by one psychologically. While massaging the other party, through special massage techniques, helped the injured sort out the life force of the runaway, so that the effects of the life potion can be absorbed more easily. The other party kept struggling, and the ball made of cork stuffed in his mouth was bitten and cracked. Black poisonous blood flowed from the wound on his chest, and the wound began to heal. The effect of the life potion slowly wears off. The swollen muscles gradually returned to their original shape, sweat continued to flow from the pores all over the body, and the high temperature of the body began to dissipate. Have you failed? There was a trace of loss and melancholy in Will's heart. When Will was about to give up, suddenly, the injured person's body twitched, and a faint white light emerged and disappeared in a flash. Immediately, his neck tilted and he passed out completely. Have you advanced to become a quasi-knight? Will breathed a sigh of relief after checking. The body is fine, but the mental energy is exhausted and dizzy. Just take a good rest for 10 days and a half months. Throw on the quilt and pick up the suitcase. He walked out of the tent, smiled and nodded to Kylan who was waiting outside, and walked towards the next tent. It was approaching dusk. After Will's treatment, 21 of the 37 wounded survived. Among the 21 people who survived, 15 people were unable to withstand the impact of energy contained in the life potion during the treatment process, and injured their internal organs. In this life, their bodies will be weaker than ordinary people. There are 2 of them, and their strength is one step closer. One person, from a preliminary knight to a quasi-knight. The other person advanced from a quasi-knight to a knight. With the suitcase on his lap, Will sat upright in the buggy. With eyes closed, a large amount of miscellaneous data rolled in my mind. With the analysis, classification, and extraction of experimental information, I got a clue about the defects and improvement directions of life medicine at this stage. Karin, how is the other thing I told you to do? Will asked, opening his eyes and staring at Karin. I have selected 50 strong men from the army according to your request. They have never practiced breathing techniques, and they are loyal and honest. When do you want them? Kylan replied. Tomorrow, you will take them to the small yard near the villa. They may stay for a long time, remember to arrange accommodation and meals. Will ordered. What you said, we will find a way to solve it, but... Kylan looked at Will and said, are you going to teach them how to breathe? Are there too many people? It's too hasty to choose disciples. Right? There are obviously a lot of good candidates in the army. Teaching breathing method is not a simple matter. There are very strict standards for the breathing technique and movement rhythm of pranayama. If you are not careful, you will practice wrongly. Not only will you not be able to strengthen your body and stimulate your vitality, but it will actually hurt your body. Therefore, at the beginning of teaching breathing method, it is necessary to have a master by his side to constantly correct the deficiencies in breathing and movement. Therefore, generally only one person can be taught at a time. Even taking advantage of the time difference, teaching 3 or 5 people at the same time is already the limit. After all, breathing is such a thing that small differences and mistakes are very difficult to detect. If you don't put all your energy on the disciples and fail to find the mistakes and correct them in time, it will be troublesome. Although with Will's strength and mental strength, it is not impossible to use all of his mind when he is a disciple. But his purpose is not this. Will wants to change the world, save mankind, and want everyone to stand at the top of the food chain in a real sense. Before that, he must have great strength. Strong enough to defeat all powerful enemies, spread their ideas, and implement their beliefs. But what about after that? Suppress the world by one person? All things surrender? Become an immortal god? Wrong. None of this was what he wanted. What Will wants is a world where everyone is equal, free, and harmonious, and everyone is like a dragon. That is an ideal world. Wizard training is like 9 years of compulsory education. Formal wizards, as undergraduate graduates. The upper strata of society are all powerful, kind, and just beings. Their identities are no more noble than those of the dung diggers. They just have a different division of labor. They all strive for a better future for mankind. I am not superior to others. No one can be above the people. I want to give everyone an equal opportunity to become stronger. However, this world is too cruel. Even if everyone is given the same exercises, resources, and teachers, the differences in talent and blood will always weigh on everyone. So, can I invent a technique that everyone can practice to become stronger without special talent? Can I transplant the magic seed in the future? Won't it shorten my lifespan? Talent? As long as one develops a technique that is popular enough and does not require high talent, wouldn't that be enough? Blood? In fact, transplanting demon seeds is no worse than natural blood. It's just that it is too difficult to transplant demon seeds, which will seriously shorten a person's lifespan. If a set of painless and harmless magic seed transplantation technology can be developed in the future, then everyone can become a wizard apprentice, and everyone can have powerful power. Those with blood will no longer be above all living beings. Chapter 156. Ideas are beautiful. Implement it. Even in Will's heart, there is no certainty of success. If you don't work hard, how will you know if you can do it? Even if I, Will, fail, there must be Lear, Dole, and Mel, who will stand up to replace me and lead the people forward. The road, we have to go step by step. Even Newton and Einstein, who are as smart as their previous lives, can only stand so tall by standing on the shoulders of their predecessors. Just do it. After thinking about it, Will felt that he wanted to make everyone stronger and create a world where everyone was like a dragon. As the first step, he felt that he still had to start with the breathing method. Many races have their own exclusive powers, like the beast masters of the Green Elves family, and the breathing method of the human side. Transplanting demon seeds can quickly gain powerful power. But Will feels that vitality is not weaker than magic power. The limit of breathing method is far more than that. In this world, the one who has the deepest understanding of breathing is none other than Will. So the first step he did was to improve the breathing method. Don't be too eager for quick success. If you want everyone to be called a knight or a great knight, that's too ambitious. If most people can cultivate into a reserve knight, it is considered a success. Even for a peak knight, facing 20 well-equipped and well-coordinated reserve knights would be a tough fight. Just think about it, if there are 30,000 troops in the army, all of them are reserve knights, what a powerful force it will be. A reserve knight is worth 3 or 5 ordinary elite soldiers. Moreover, the number of reserve knights has increased, and the number of quasi-knights and knights will naturally increase. Unfortunately, my current ability is still limited. Will has indeed improved the breathing method. I have integrated the breathing method with the elementary exercise method, which greatly reduces the difficulty of cultivation, and after practicing the improved method, the same as a reserve knight, his physique is much stronger than other reserve knights. It's just that due to the side effects of body training, the difficulty of stimulating vitality has to be doubled. But Will believes that with his continuous improvement, the exercises will become more and more perfect. Even the current defective version is very powerful. He remembered a magical skill called Dragon Elephant Pruchna Kung Fu in the novels of his previous life. He heard that no matter how dull a person is in the first few layers, it can take a few years to practice it. When I first saw it, I had a thought of why is such a powerful martial arts not popularized in the army. Now, you can turn the ideas in your heart into reality. Early morning. Near the accommodation area of Kawa City, on a semi-large open space, 50 well-dressed soldiers stood upright. People have arrived here since the sky was still dark. It has been 3 hours now, and the sun has jumped out of the mountain, but there is still no figure of the instructor as rumored. The crowd began to commotion. People whispered, talking about their doubts and guesses. I heard that Master will choose an apprentice from among us. If I am selected, he. Don't think too much. A person next to him said contemptuously, Master Tai Li should have hired Master Will as an instructor to train us. I think Mr. Will is indeed very powerful. Even Commander Lead was defeated by him, but to train us? He is still so young and inexperienced. Is it really useful for ordinary instructors? It's just using us as experiments. Although Lord Will is powerful, his knight cultivation is only at the knight level. The ability to defeat Commander Leader Lid depends on blood. The noise in the crowd grew louder. Most people are not optimistic about Will. They all felt that Will was delaying them. Until someone said something, I don't know if Master Will teach people, I only know that his pharmacy is very powerful, if you can get a bottle of life potion, everything is worth it. All of a sudden, everyone fell silent. All doubts about Will disappeared. Rumors about the life potion have already spread in the army. The miraculous effects of the life potion have been exaggerated countless times, and there are rumors that as long as one drinks the life potion, one can immediately stimulate the power of life and become a quasi-knight. Some people began to consider whether they should intentionally get seriously injured and accept Will's treatment. As a new instructor, Will may not be able to teach well, may have no experience, and may just pass the time. But so what? As long as there is a slight chance to get the life potion, they are not willing to miss it. Under the expectant eyes of everyone, Will arrived late. Looking at the 50 people standing neatly in front of him, Will sighed in his heart, didn't I say to gather at 8 o'clock? It's so early. Are you so looking forward to learning breathing techniques with me? I must not let them down. He glanced at the crowd. From today onwards, I am your instructor. Do you know what I am here for? Do I want to teach you anything? Will asked loudly. People looked at each other in blank dismay, their faces full of doubts. What I want to teach you is the breathing method I created called breathing exercise. Will's words were like throwing a stone into a calm lake, and the crowd suddenly became agitated. Most soldiers in the army are just civilians. Never touched breathing method at all. Even if they have made meritorious service and can exchange military merit for breathing method, they have passed the best age for practicing breathing method, and their achievements are limited. Moreover, the promotion of positions in the military is linked to strength. An ordinary soldier who can be promoted to squad leader is a fixed point. A reserve knight can generally be a platoon leader. A quasi-knight, if you make great achievements, you can be a centurion. What if you were a knight? As long as the performance is not particularly bad, it is still loyal, and willing to obey orders, it is usually a centurion to start, and given time, it is not impossible for 1,000 commander. And now, Will actually said that he wanted to teach them how to breathe. The question is, can they learn? Although Wilkin teaches, it makes them very excited, but is it really useful? Under the puzzled, excited eyes of the 50 soldiers, Will began to explain the breathing method he was about to teach them. This is my creation, Kamemoto's third set of breathing exercises. It has very low requirements for people's qualifications, and there is no age limit. As long as you endure hardships and work hard, it is not difficult to become a reserve knight. Will said. Really? 50 pairs of eyes suddenly lit up. However, there is a flaw in the third set of breathing exercises. Will raised a finger. Looking at Will, the soldiers swallowed nervously. Sure enough, do you have to pay a price if you want to gain power? This idea emerged in the hearts of 50 people at the same time. The third set of breathing exercises can make you a reserve knight, and it's much better than ordinary reserve knights. However, the difficulty of stimulating your life force in the future will also increase several times. Will's eyes were sharp. Whoever wants to quit, you can do so now. Will originally thought that even if no one dared to quit, the complexion would not be too good. Who knew that everyone, with the expressions on their faces, looked excited? Maybe they will be stuck in the reserve knight for the rest of their lives. Are they willing? Don't they resent me for ruining their future? Will was a little puzzled. Chapter 157. In the next time. Practice, refining medicine, training soldiers, the days passed day by day. Not long after, a soldier who followed Princess Corinne to explore the ruins returned. It was learned from the soldiers that under the leadership of Princess Corinne, they arrived near the destination in 2 months, and then were trapped in a forest. There are moving trees everywhere in the forest. Giant trees with human faces on their roots are powerful and strange. People dispersed. He was lost in the forest for almost half a year before he found his way out and returned to Kava City. Ancient war tree? Will was surprised. Each ancient war tree is as powerful as a third-class apprentice. It has a long lifespan and can live for thousands of years. It is an excellent guardian. It's a pity that the manufacturing technology of the ancient tree of war has long been lost. It's just rumored that the tree people still have the manufacturing method of the ancient tree of war. Afterwards, Will asked a few more questions. Don't you know anything? That's right, the princess can't tell them about wizards and ruins, but I don't know if Tucci and the others have reached the ruins. Will didn't bother about this. Everyone has his own destiny. He has already advised Tucci, and has given Tucci help as much as possible. It only took 2 months from the departure to the vicinity of the destination, and now more than half a year has passed, and I haven't come back. I'm afraid it's a bad luck. He has been with Tucci for several months, and he still has a good impression of Tucci. Judging from the information obtained now, Tucci has a high probability of death. If I follow, will the result be very different? Tucci may not have to die, but he can also gain a lot of wealth from the ruins. The thought flashed through Will's mind, and he immediately put it behind him. Sure enough, it won't work without strength. In the basement. In a sealed room. At this moment, Will's cultivation has reached the most critical moment and cannot be affected in the slightest. The heart was beating vigorously. The heart is like a water pump, sending the light of life along the blood vessels to the whole body. Blood vessels dyed white, coiled and knotted, floating on the surface of the body, terrifying and ferocious. Will's movements were extremely slow, like an old man practicing Tai Chi. Breathing is long and distant, and it takes 3 minutes to complete a cycle of exhalation and inhalation. And his body, as he inhaled, the muscles and blood vessels all over his body gradually grew larger. From a height of over 1.7 meters, it seemed as if the blood vessels and muscles had been inflated, and he became a strong man with a height of 2 meters. As he exhaled, his body gradually became thinner, turning into the appearance of a 1.4 meter elementary school student. One breath and one breath, one big and one small, the cycle repeats. The white light in Will's body became more and more condensed, as if it were real. I don't know how long it has passed, it may be an hour, or it may be a day. Will stood still. The whole body seemed to be plated with a layer of mercury, turning into a silver-white statue. Caw caw caw. Cracks appeared on the surface of the body, and the silvery white light shattered, turning into specks of fluorescence, floating in the surrounding air. Will's body returned to normal, and his skin was rosy. Standing in the fine flakes of fluorescent light, with arms outstretched, the fluorescent light was sucked towards Will's body by an invisible force, blended into Will's body through the pores of his skin, and turned into a part of his body. After a long time, Will finally opened his eyes and said with emotion, "Is this the power of a paladin?" He had waited too long for this moment. After entering the realm of the paladin, the vitality has undergone a qualitative change. In the past, the so-called stimulating vitality was more like a special power-generating technique, which could explosively increase speed, strength, and defense. After becoming a paladin, with the enhancement of understanding and control of vitality, there is finally a trace of vitality that should be possessed. Will pushed open the door to the Chamber of Secrets. Go up the stairs and walk into the garden outside the villa. Stepping on the fresh green grass, the green grass was bent and broken by him. However, at the moment when Will's feet were lifted, a little invisible fluorescent light floated from the surface of his body and floated towards the stepped green grass. The trampled green grass is full of vitality in an instant. The green leaves stuck in the soil bounced up. Breaking the fracture where the juice is coming out also quickly recovers. In just a few seconds, the grass not only returned to its original shape, but also showed more vitality. Will stood in the middle of the garden, opened his arms, closed his eyes, silently feeling the life in the garden. In my mind, faint light spots appeared. Is this the power of life? This was the first time Will felt the power of life intuitively without using the magic eye. Grass, trees, flowers, bugs, everything has animism. Some are weak, some are strong, some are full of vitality, and some are withered and dying. All life has the power of life, and the power of life reflects their state. The current power of life is what the power of life in Will's heart should have. In the past, it was just a special force technique. Even if the name is changed, it is called Do-Chi, internal strength, and there is no sense of disobedience. Suddenly, an idea popped up in Will's mind. I can give life force to other creatures, so can I absorb it? Pick a flower at random. Feeling the weak life force in the flowers, trying to pull out the life force and integrate it into his body. Can't you? Then, Will tried to transfer his life force to the flowers. The flowers suddenly became brighter. Only the life force of the flower dissipated in an instant? Will frowned. In order to test the idea in his mind, he caught another ladybug. Inject life force into the ladybug's body. The weak life force of the ladybug was instantly destroyed, and she died instantly. But just looking at the appearance, the ladybug is full of vitality, as if it is alive and ready to fly at any time. It seems that there is something wrong? Will frowned. He looked back at the weeds that had been trampled and broken by him along the way, and had been injected with life force. The weeds, which were full of vitality, died unexpectedly. Is it just an illusion? People with different blood types cannot receive blood transfusions. The same goes for life force. In fact, if you perceive it carefully, you will find that there are subtle differences in the life force of different creatures. As to what those differences are. How can I absorb the life force of other creatures? Can the power of life be transferred to other creatures? These all take a long time to understand. I don't know how much my strength has increased. Everything else is just minor details. Only strength is the most important thing. The strength of the paladin should be far above that of the Grand Knight. The paladin's understanding and control of vitality is far superior to that of the Great Knight. The power of the knight's martial arts is even stronger, and the strength may reach a 50-fold increase. Feel the changes in strength carefully. Fluorescence continuously floated out of his body and merged into his body. Chapter 158. Will's understanding of the changes after becoming a paladin and the power of life has become more and more profound. Suddenly, he frowned. Will felt a sense of disharmony in his life force. What exactly is it? Mobilize the spiritual power, and detect the disharmony in the vitality. So that's the case. Is it the damage to the body caused by long-term consumption of the black stock solution? Puzzle solved. If you want to transplant the magic seed, you must take the black stock solution. The black stock solution will cause permanent damage to the body, that is, reduce lifespan. Under normal circumstances, you can only live to be 30 years old. This is the price that ordinary people without blood must pay in order to become wizards. But what surprised Will even more? The loss was slowly repaired under the nourishment of the power of life. 30 years of life has always been like the sword of Damocles hanging over Will's head, making Will fear all the time. Now, the sword is actually loose. You don't need to be a third-class apprentice or a paladin to get rid of the curse of 30 years of life. Will was ecstatic. After calming down, he found out. This kind of moisture rising is really too slow. It is impossible to completely repair the damage without dozens or hundreds of years. Although it is a pity to repair the body, it takes too long to completely repair the damage caused by the black stock solution. Before that, everyone is dead. But it's not all useless. Ordinary wizard apprentices who transplant demon seeds can only live to be 30 years old. My situation should be slightly better than them. There should be no problem in living to 35 years old. After becoming a paladin, he could actually use the power of life to nourish and restore his body, which Will never thought of before. Because I was on the monster blacklist, the probability of me becoming a third-class apprentice has dropped to about 50%. Now, with 5 more years, if nothing else happens, the probability of becoming a third-class apprentice is more than 90%. 5 years is really too important. Too many second-class apprentices, when half of their feet stepped into the realm of third-class apprentices, their lifespan ran out and died. If the lifespan limit for transplanting demon seeds was not 30 but 35, then the number of third-class apprentices would be multiplied several times. In fact, if you transplant the flesh and blood of weaker monsters, there is a way to prolong your lifespan. But in that case, when tempering the body, the magic power in the monster seed would not be enough, so magic potion would be needed. The magic potion needs to be purchased with magic stones. If you want magic stones, you must spend time doing tasks. After one increase and one decrease, the difficulty is similar to that of ordinary monsters, but the strength is far worse. Will breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, I don't have to have nightmares every day. Will took off the blindfold. I don't know if there is any strengthening for the demon seed? As soon as the golden pupils were exposed to the air, they immediately sucked in the power of life. In the past, Will could only try his best to suppress the demon seed, but he couldn't control the demon seed to absorb the power of life. But now, it works. He controlled the power of life in his body and sent it to the demon seed little by little. Will was surprised to find that he could clearly feel the process of the power of life flowing into the demon seed. You can also feel that the power of life is transformed into another kind of familiar and unfamiliar energy by the magic seed. That energy is similar to the force of life, but completely different. Much more powerful and domineering than the power of life. What exactly is it? For a moment, Will couldn't remember. So he tried to control that force. Little by little, it is drawn out from the demon seed. Boom! As if a bomb buried in his eye had been detonated, Will felt that the left half of his face had been blown away. For a moment, half of his head lost consciousness. The cold liquid slid down his cheeks. I wiped it with my hand, and at a glance, I found that it was bright red blood, with a trace of gold mixed in the blood. My left eye, is it bleeding? Surprise, fear, uneasiness, and complex emotions entangled Will's heart. Time passed so slowly. After an unknown amount of time, consciousness returned. The pupil of the left eye actually stopped jumping wildly. Blinked. The eyes turned left and right, and the monster turned like ordinary eyes under Will's control. I can actually control the demon seed? Didn't it mean that I need to be a third-class apprentice to do it? After thinking about it carefully, I am not so surprised by this. To control the demon seeds, what is most needed is mental power. My advanced meditation method is already at the 3rd level, and my mental power has reached the upper middle level among third-class apprentices. It is not surprising that I can control the demon seeds as I wish. From now on, there is no need to wear blindfolds. Although I have been wearing it for almost 6 years and I am used to it, seeing things with one eye cannot always be compared with 2 eyes. That power is magic, right? The magic power has always been hidden in the demon seeds, constantly radiating the body, while strengthening the body, it also damages the body. After learning the intermediate body training method, you can use the intermediate body training method to draw out the magic power from the magic seed, let the magic power run along a specific route, and achieve the purpose of tempering the body. But if you want to control the magic power, you must be a third-class apprentice. I heard that there are some powerful second-class students who can control a trace of magic power. Is it true? Cautiously, he probed his spiritual power into the demon seed again. Once again, that tinge of magic was felt. Channel the magic. This time, Will was extra careful. He didn't want that situation to happen again. With the drawing of magic power, deep in the eyes, there was a tingling pain. It was as if someone had stabbed the eyeball with a thin needle, which almost made Will unable to control his magic power. Fortunately, he reacted in time and suppressed the pain. Wrap magic around your right hand. Didn't feel any difference. Picking up a pebble and holding it lightly, the pebble instantly crumbles into pieces in the palm of your hand. Magic power is indeed much easier to use than the power of life. The power of magic is much more powerful than Will imagined. The magic power I can control now is still too little, and the process of drawing out the magic power is too slow. It is impossible to use it in actual combat. Blue Spirit. In the translucent interface, Will found the skill he wanted. Alder Seal. Phaeon, the strongest skill in the apprenticeship stage. He learned it at the age of 15, but because he couldn't control the magic power, the skill has been in a grey state. Now, it's finally on. I can use Alder's Seal now? I don't know how far the strongest skill in the apprenticeship stage can go. The magic power drawn out, the hands are sealed with magic seals. The pain in the left eye became more and more severe, and when the brain was almost overwhelmed by the pain, the seal was completed. An invisible wave flew towards a huge boulder taller than a person in the garden. High speed. Almost as soon as it was released, the shock wave fell on the stone. There was no sound. There was no explosion. There are no dramatic light and shadow effects. Did it fail? Will wondered in his heart. Chapter 159. In order to release the seal of Alder, Will has overdrawn the magic power in the demon seed, and even injured the demon seed. It is impossible to recover without resting for a few days. If you fail this time, if you want to verify again, you can only wait a few days later. If I knew this would happen, I should have upgraded the Alder seal first before talking about it. Alder Phaeon is still level 0. Level 0 represents learning. But learning does not mean success every time. Did the release fail, or was the power too weak? Will walked towards the boulder, looked at the boulder carefully, knocked on the surface of the boulder, and finally found a trace of abnormality. Is this the place where it was hit by Alder Phaeon? It feels much softer than other places. On the surface of the boulder, there is an area about the size of a fist, and the texture is obviously much softer. Hit the area a little harder, and cracks began to appear on the surface of the boulder, scattering rubble. With Will's tapping and digging, a fist-sized, chopstick-deep hole was actually dug out on the surface of the boulder. This small hole was definitely made by Alder, but the damage caused by Alder's seal is very small. He could easily smash a stone like this into pieces. Did Will feel disappointed that the power of Alder's seal was too weak? Wrong. Horrible. What kind of power is needed to cause this kind of damage? No damage is visible on the surface. The damage is evenly distributed. Will pondered for a long time before he had a clue. By the way, it's the attenuation of strength. Will suddenly realized, under normal circumstances, a punch that hits a person's chest is powerful enough to break a rib, but the internal organs located a few centimeters below the rib suffer less damage. Not much, from the ribs to the internal organs, the strength has attenuated by more than 99%. Human internal organs are very fragile. Even for Will, if the internal organs are exposed to the air, the force of a baby's punch is enough to injure his internal organs. Then why, the power that can break the steel and crack the stone is hit on the chest, but the internal organs are not strong. Even if 1/10 of the power is transmitted to the internal organs, it can easily kill people. The transmission of power decays very quickly. Although people have researched countless techniques that can hurt internal organs, the efficiency is still too low. If you have mastered a technique that does not attenuate your strength, the force of 100 kilograms hits the surface of the body, and the force transmitted to the internal organs is also 100 kilograms. The effect can only be described as terrifying. If anyone has mastered this technique, then hit him with a force of 1,000 kilograms. Now, Will's body has the strength to lift 30,000 kilograms, and the ultimate explosive punching force can reach 1.5 million kilograms. What is it to hit the body with a force of only 1,000 kilograms? Mosquito bites? However, can Will's internal organs withstand the force of 1,000 kilograms? The answer is no. If the opponent had mastered the technique of not decaying so quickly, he would be able to kill Will with a single punch with only 1,000 kilograms of strength. And Alder Phaeon is this kind of technique. It's too scary. Who can block this kind of attack? The Welsh shuddered at the thought of Alder's mark on him. I used to hear that Alder's seal was sending out an invisible shock wave. I thought it was something like Kamii Kigong, but I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. The destructive power of Alder's seal is indeed very weak. Judging from the destructive effect it caused, if converted into power, it would be around 1000 kilograms. But no matter how powerful it is, it's useless if it can't hurt anyone. No matter how weak the strength is, as long as it can kill people, it is a divine skill. Alder's seal is such a magical skill. For a skill as powerful as Alder's seal, there are 4 more. Will had already begun to fantasize about the day he learned the 5 seals. Only when the 5 great seals gather together, can the apprentice wizard be truly invincible. At that time, there is no need to be afraid of even magic weapons. Unfortunately, I am still a second-class apprentice now. The process of drawing out and condensing magic power is too slow. It takes about 10 seconds to release the Alder seal, which is useless in actual combat. The shock wave released by Alder's seal is very fast. The speed is so fast that even Will can't catch it. The speed should be more than 3 times the speed of sound. Once released, it is impossible to avoid it without means of supersonic movement. And if you want to move at supersonic speed, you must reach the level of a formal wizard. In other words, once the Alder seal is successfully released in the apprenticeship stage, the enemy will undoubtedly die. It was hard to calm down the excitement. I can't be proud, maybe the enemy's internal organs are very strong? Is the recovery fast? Has other weird abilities? So, hurry up and upgrade Alder Fayan. Looking at the source power that had been accumulated with great difficulty, it bottomed out all of a sudden, and it was impossible to say that I didn't feel distressed. After raising Alder's forensic doctor to level 3. From level 3 to level 4, you need 4000 source power, from level 4 to level 5, you need 8000, so much source power, how do you get it? And this is just the apprenticeship stage. What about after becoming an official wizard? Do you need tens of millions of source power at every turn? Forget it, I don't think so much. To become an official wizard, you don't even know that it will be the year of the monkey. After becoming a paladin, I have indeed brought a lot of surprises. My strength has also been greatly improved because of this, but I still don't know enough about the changes in my body. I still need time to slowly study the application of magic power. For many days after that, Will focused his energy on studying the changes in his body. At first, the people around were also interested in Will's golden pupils. Gradually, I got used to it. With the understanding of the power of the paladins, Will also has a vague idea of his own strength. Among the 5th ranks of 3rd-class apprentices, my strength should be in the 4th rank. In the academy, Bloom is the only one whose strength can stabilize me. Even though he was only a 2nd-class apprentice, he possessed such great strength. But Will wouldn't be proud of it. A strong adult may also be stabbed to death by a child. The power of the magic weapon is beyond my imagination. Maybe someone with money and someone with a magic weapon can beat Will violently with the strength of an apprentice? Where human beings are truly powerful is not themselves, but wisdom. Wisdom enables humans to create all kinds of powerful weapons. With weapons and without weapons, the strength is a world of difference. Like Guwu in the previous life, which one is not respected by weapons? Unarmed skills just lay the foundation for practicing weapons. The world is probably the same. Magical weapons are too expensive and rare, and their abilities are also varied. When confronting other wizard apprentices in the future, especially when the opponent has a background, you must be careful. If you can tell whether the opponent has a magic weapon, and the ability of the magic weapon, that is naturally the best. If you can't, then it's best to instantly kill the opponent before he has time to use the magic weapon. Chapter 160. A paladin is just the peak strength of a 2nd-class apprentice. And Will's fighting power is also outstanding among the 3rd-class apprentices. The 3rd-class apprentice crushed the 2nd-class apprentice. So in the beginning, his expectations for the paladins were not that strong. The improvement of strength is secondary. What's more, it is to deepen the understanding of the knight's breathing method and lay the foundation for the development of a more powerful and easy-to-learn breathing method. The series of changes triggered by becoming a paladin were really beyond Will's expectations. Advanced paladins are just the first step. Within the same level, there are elementary, intermediate, advanced, and peak levels. Right now, I'm mostly a paladin. Because Will's body value is much stronger than that of ordinary paladins. The amount of vitality is linked to physical fitness. So as far as the amount of vitality is concerned, even the peak paladins are far behind Will. The road of knights still has a long way to go. The potential of vitality is definitely no longer under the magic power. If you can develop the realm after the paladins, that would be great. After becoming a paladin, Will's understanding of the breathing method suddenly deepened a lot. He immediately set about improving his breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are constantly improving, and basically change to a version every 10 days and a half months. Before you know it, it's already the 8th edition of breathing exercises. The improvement of breathing exercises has reached the extreme. Even as Paladin Will, it is difficult to improve. Has the limit of breathing exercises stopped everywhere? Breathing gymnastics was originally created to increase the number of reserve nights. The more perfect the breathing exercise, the higher the chance of becoming a preparatory knight after training. Will is confident that as long as there is no physical problem, after practicing breathing exercises, he will be able to become a reserve knight without stopping for a month or 2, or 3 to 5 years at a time. The problem is, the flaws are too big. Will said with emotion in his heart. Breathing gymnastics is a method of sacrificing the future. Originally, after practicing breathing exercises, stimulating the power of life would be much more difficult than ordinary reserve nights. With Will's improvement, the difficulty became more and more serious. Now, the difficulty has more than doubled. It can almost be asserted that as long as one practices breathing and gymnastics, one will never be able to stimulate the power of life in one's life without any adventures. It's not what I want at all. Will's original idea was that breathing exercises were improved. The speed of becoming stronger is accelerated, the difficulty is reduced, and it has become a practice that everyone can practice. At the same time, it does not affect the stimulation of vitality. The body training method is, after all, the crystallization of countless generations of wizards. It is not something I can rashly change now. It is too naive to integrate the body training method into the breathing method. Spreading the breathing exercises can enhance the combat effectiveness of human beings in a short period of time. But he really can't do this kind of way of destroying people's future and fishing in a dry lake. It's better to simply make a fuss about the breathing method. Let's give up the failed exercises like breathing exercises. As for how to deal with the breathing exercise, it can only be discussed and decided by the Commander-in-Chief Tai Li. Will believes that Commander Terry and the others will definitely use breathing exercises to their blades. Of course, he will definitely explain the advantages and disadvantages of breathing exercises. But Will still doesn't recommend the large-scale practice of breathing exercises. If he creates a new breathing method in the future, which allows everyone to stimulate vitality, some people will not be able to stimulate vitality because they have practiced breathing exercises. What a sad thing that must be. When Will told the details of breathing exercises to Commander Terry, Commander-in-Chief Terry's reply was ambiguous. How they would use their breathing exercises, Will no longer cared. He turned his gaze to the life potion. The breath exercise failed, but the life potion was still very successful. After a large number of human experiments, the effect and stability of the life medicine have been guaranteed. Although it is still very dangerous, the failure rate is still quite high, and the risk is relatively high, but the benefits are also great. Basically, after drinking the life potion, there is a 1/10 chance of inspiring life force. There is a half probability that the body will become significantly stronger. There is a 1/3 probability that the body will be injured. As for how serious the injury is and whether it can be recovered, it depends on luck. The remaining probability is like drinking tonic, the effect is not obvious. And the probability is so small that it is negligible death. Of course, the above probability is based on the standard of the user's health. The improvement of life medicine can still continue. It's just that a bottleneck has been reached. The time required for each step of improvement needs to be measured in months. After that, it is estimated to be measured in years. He simply doesn't have that much time. And why did he develop life medicine? Will wants to popularize the life potion, and wants the life potion to be like an ordinary hemostatic cream. To achieve this goal, he must face several difficulties. Material. Although the materials of the life potion are not expensive, each life potion still costs dozens of gold coins. Difficulty. Even in Will's opinion, the difficulty of refining the life potion is quite difficult, comparable to some advanced secondary potions. Instructions. Stabbing the heart every time is too dangerous, not everyone's hands are as steady as his. The materials need to be improved, and it is best to control them within 5 gold coins. In terms of difficulty, among the pharmacists in the Kava City army, there are 2 or 3 who can refine it. It is best to use it orally. Every one of them feels so difficult. Will put his head in his hands, especially the method of use, if taken orally, the effect of the medicine will be greatly weakened after passing through the digestive tract, and blood vessels will not be able to bear it if it is transfused. Although very difficult. But he still has 2 more years left. It took 2 years to improve the life potion, and Will believed that it would be successful. Creating an improved breathing method, because it takes too much time, Will temporarily gave up. In 2 years, it's not bad to be able to successfully improve the life potion, but also the breathing method. And, at this stage, my top priority is to find a way to advance to a 3rd-class apprentice. How can I have so much time to study this and that? Will is still very clear about the priority of things. And to become stronger, magic stones are necessary. The magic stones I need to advance to a 3rd-class apprentice are much more than ordinary 2nd-class wizards. 30 high-level magic stones are basic, but it is obviously not enough to earn so many magic stones in Kawa City. Realistic. Complete the magic stone obtained by the army. Plus the refining materials that were secretly deducted. About 40 or 50 intermediate magic stones can be obtained every month. After 3 years, about 15 high-level magic stones can be saved. Sure enough, there are still too few. We must find a way to earn more magic stones.